Access. Today, Angola Jr.
This is the love language of athletics at times, and people used to always misattribute this to this is how guys work out problems. They yell and they scream and they get in fight to work it out. Now, this is how athletes work out problems because you're expected to go out there and play with all this unbridled energy at certain times. And so it's understandable that in team pressure situation, you would have these kind of emotions spill over into the locker room.
Today, Angola Jr. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, streaming live or on demand from your smart speaker.
It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Be listening every hour for the word that wins and enter it at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM. We spent a lot of time yesterday reacting to week 4 of the National Football League season. We were talking about it as if week 4 was officially in the books, but as of about midnight last night, week 4 is finally officially in the books. Do you like the 2 Monday Night Football games? I mean, it's Monday Night Football. It is what it is. I mean, people were like, get rid of the Thursday Night Football, just have double headers on Monday night. You don't need to get rid of Thursday Night Football, but just put games that people give a damn about. Right. Like that's the thing. Stop putting a battle of offers every Thursday night. I don't even know who the Thursday night matchup is this week.
That's a good question.
So, but regardless, at this point, it's a situation where, hey, week 4, both games last night because of the COVID situation with the New England Patriots. Look, they didn't almost win by any means, but a lot of people are already saying, hey, Cam Newton, he plays last night. They possibly beat the Chiefs. And then we're sitting here talking. I mean, the NFL whole picture would be upside down as far as just how good the Patriots are and how good are they. I think it's what a lot of people are asking themselves right now.
Yeah, I mean, that defensive game plan that Belichick and the Patriots had, basically, you know, on early downs, making sure they stop the run, and then on passing downs, rush 2 and drop everybody else in the coverage, clog up the passing lanes, was working. You look at Brian Hoyer, he took that sack right before the half, so they weren't able to get at least a field goal. And then when they were dropping the ball again, strip sack from Taco Charlton, former Michigan Wolverine / former Dallas Cowboy. Sure, they could use him right about now. On
defense is optional in the NFL right now.
So
it's the Big 12 approach right now.
Yeah, so at least Hoyer left 6 points out there on the board, and then they pulled them, and then Stidham drives them down, scores, and then they get the ball back again, and then your reliable receiver lets it go off his hands, and it's a pick 6 for Tyrann Mathieu, and that's ball game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, then you have the Packers who remain undefeated. The Falcons now one of 4 defeated teams. They're all defeated. There's the all-defeated 4. There's 4 all-defeated teams as we currently sit here right now. Ron Howard on Facebook says that, well, Stidham, he looks like poo. He did not look good.
Really? I didn't think that. I think Hoyer looked worse than he did.
I mean, if we're going to play that, I mean, so both looked bad, basically.
I don't think he looked bad. I don't think he looked bad at all, to be perfectly honest. There's a reason why they pulled Hoyer and put him in, and as soon as he went in, he drove right down the field. That interception isn't on him.
Either way, he didn't look good. I mean, that was supposed to be their guy coming in, and that's how both looked. Oofa. Thank goodness they went out. Thank goodness they went out and obviously got Cam Newton. Dean McDonald on Facebook says Bucks versus Bears on Thursday. Thank goodness for Tom Brady. Thank goodness for the Buccaneers because that Bears, hey, but, you know, the last time that Tom Brady faced Nick Foles, we all know what happened. I'm just joking. I'm trying to put a spin on that game, but can't wait to watch the Buccaneers win on Thursday Night Football as far as that's concerned if we're making our picks already. But we'll get back into some more NFL stuff coming up around the corner. We'll give you our top 5, bottom 5. Will the Bengals make it out of my bottom 5 list?
They should.
Not really.
Oh, good.
You don't get rewarded for beating a bad team unless you're the Browns.
There's like 4 teams with L's. They don't have any wins.
Either way, you get a win against a bad team, so that all those problems still exist. But anyways, just to be clear, they're not in my bottom 5, so relax. But it was painful because I'm like, it's not like I think that they're better or anything. And according to, now we're going to get into the NFL power rankings too, and where they have the Bengals coming up around the corner. But I wanted to open up talking a little college football. Mainly because the AP poll came out today. And again, every time we put this out, I always have to, put out the little notion that, these polls mean nothing. These polls mean nothing unless you don't like where your team is. These polls only mean nothing when your team is not placed where you want them to be placed. Because if your team is where you think they should be placed, then all of a sudden these polls are credible. Because of how upside down the college football world is right now, I don't know how credible these polls are at all. I think that some of these are a given. And the fact that Clemson and Bama are 1 and 2, that's a given as far as that's concerned. When Ohio State comes back into play, they're obviously going to be in that equation as well. But right now, the AP poll that was released and the coaches poll, basically the same 4 teams all involved. Clemson comes in at number 1, Alabama number 2, Georgia 3, and Florida at number 4. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Miami are 5, 6, and 7. Ohio State received 2 first-place votes, Kevin, then Clemson, 52 first-place votes. Alabama has 8. Again, they should have just paused all poll releases as far as that's concerned. But from a sports radio perspective, I kind of appreciate that they continue to put these polls out for talking points. But keep in mind, I don't really know what to make of this list, because my thing is that you are trying to tell, like, if you are saying that Ohio State is only number 6 because they're not playing, are we supposed to expect that the second that the clock hits 0 on the 24th, when they beat Nebraska by 40 whatever, is all of a sudden Ohio State the number 1 team in the country? Because that's what Buckeye fans are making it sound like on social media. And look, who's to say, like right now, if Ohio State had started with everybody else, where would they be within these polls? Would they be 1? Would they be 2? Would they be 3? With the schedule Ohio State has, they will at least play somebody in week 2, as they have Penn State coming up around the corner, which, by the way, Penn State comes in at number 9 in this AP poll. So they will at least have a top 10 opponent right off the bat. Alabama is going to have 3 top 25 ranked opponents under their belts by the time that point of the season comes. Clemson will have Miami under the belt. Clemson, Miami coming up this weekend. That's going to be a big one. That's a game that, we're trying to discredit Clemson's schedule, but hey, that's a top 10 opponent that they have. Miami playing better than we thought. My big question is, and we lightly talked about this last week, is what the college landscape will look like whenever Ohio State finally does step foot out into the field for the first time. But I got to thinking, you have Ohio State at 6. They're getting 2 first-place votes, and I just don't understand why they're at 6 then. Like, if we're trying to do this whole, we're putting them at 6 because we know they're really good. We know they're really good. Well, then why not just put them where you believe that they actually are? Like, unless you're really trying to convince yourself that, I don't know. I think Notre Dame's better. I think Florida's better. I think Georgia's better. If they were playing, you wouldn't be saying that. Well, they're not playing, so that's why we're not going to rank them that high. Well, then why rank them at all? That's the problem I have. If you're going to even put them that high to begin with, why not just go that extra mile as far as I'm concerned? But here's where the question I have is, by the time we officially get to that, like when the clock hits 0, okay, when the clock hits 0, what would that date be after the 24th? So we're talking about the 26th. On October 26th, when the AP poll comes out, the first poll that comes out after Ohio State beats Nebraska by 40 whatever, I'm curious, how high up do they move them up these polls? Oh, now all of a sudden, are they number 2 in the country? Now all of a sudden, are they number 1 in the country? Where were they when the first poll came out? Where were they? Were they 2?
They were 2, I believe.
They were 2. So do they just rightfully take their place at number 2 back? And everyone's going to say, well, these polls don't matter. Well, November 24th will be the very first college football playoff poll that comes out. And that's going to be the one that everyone says is the one that matters. But I promise you, on October 26th, you will have Buckeye fans screaming, because I believe you can't pass Alabama and you can't pass Clemson. If you're talking about polling, Ohio State's going to play. You're going to shoot them up. The rankings are already at number 6, whatever that means right now. But I do believe that there is a barrier between Clemson, Alabama, and everybody else right now, just because of the fact that they're playing, and to be fair, who they're playing. They're playing top 25 opponents. Ohio State's going to come in and play Nebraska in their very first game of the season. Hell, they'll even have Penn State in week 2, but both Alabama and Clemson will have a couple top 25 opponents under their belt. I don't see Ohio State cracking the top 2 until, well, maybe at all. If Clemson and Alabama remain undefeated the rest of the way, I don't see Ohio State passing either, and it's not Ohio State's fault. I just think it's because they're coming to the party late as far as that's concerned.
Definitely coming to the party late, and we're just all going to have to deal with a wacky world. In a normal situation, you know, you and I have these talks behind the scenes about I am a person that could care less about polls and rankings and stuff like that. I am so plain Jane with it. I am the guy that says it doesn't matter what Ohio State does. As long as they win their games, they're going to be exactly where they want to be. I know that's not like the cool radio rock thing to be about, but that's just how I feel about it. Like, I don't care. But for this argument, I'll entertain it. For me, Ohio State and nobody playing Ohio State, any team in the Big Ten or any team in the Pac-12, nobody should be ranked. You ain't played, so don't rank them.
Yep.
After they play, then you can assess. That's just how I feel. I mean, and in the opening rankings, why get bent out of shape about it? I don't get why people get so bent out of shape about it unless their team is number one. Because let's be clear, after Ohio State plays and if they beat Nebraska and they jump up into their rankings to number 2, people ain't gonna be satisfied. You know, it doesn't matter where you start the rankings. It only matters where you end the rankings. It only matters where you end. You want to be number 1 at the end, not at the beginning, at the end, because that's when it really counts. That's just how I feel about rankings.
I get that, but here's why I always say that these AP polls do matter, is because I do believe that's a starting point. If you take those polls away, what is the College Football Playoff Committee looking at?
Right.
When you say, for instance, what's one of the main criteria? So how many top 25 wins do they have? Well, for that very first poll that comes out, what are we classifying as top 25 wins at that point? Mm-hmm. It's not hard to figure out. Look, and by the way, the committee's job is fairly simple. You take Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. That's 1, 2, and 3. You can roll dice for who's 1, roll dice for who's 2, roll dice for who's 3. This really comes down to that number 4 spot. I mean, forget, what it really comes down to now is Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State, they pretty much have 1 through 3 locked up. And I don't care what order that is, 1 through 3, that's locked up. Those 3 spots belong to those 3 teams. And you can argue that that's a given on every year to begin with. You know what I mean? Like in the College Football Committee, they come into every season knowing that, well, the ACC belongs to Clemson, so they're going to be in. The Big Ten belongs to Ohio State, they're going to be in. And 8 out of 10 times, Alabama, the SEC belongs to Alabama, at least during the Nick Saban era right now. And you're going to have your teams that come up and, sprinkle in, whether it's Auburn or whether it's LSU here and there, but it's Alabama's. Really, this is going to come down to who that number 4 team is going to be. It's going to come down between Georgia. It's going to come down between Florida. It's going to come down between Notre Dame, possibly. Maybe it comes down between Cincinnati. Look, we talked about, that the American Conference, that, man, they have to be so angry that the Big Ten is back because that's a whole conference that's back. Well, the Big 12 has completely taken themselves. They've opted out of the college football playoff, basically. I've seen those memes pop up. Oh, breaking news, the Big 12 has opted out of the college football playoff thanks to Oklahoma and Texas's play. That's a conference that's out of it. The Pac-12 is out of it. Maybe they get cute with it here in 2020 because of COVID. And if Cincinnati's undefeated at the end and they have a couple top 25 wins, under their belt, maybe they get a shot. Maybe they get a shot. I'm curious not just how high Ohio State's going to move up in those rankings whenever their time comes, but how far back are you going to push Cincinnati? How far back are you going to push a lot of these teams? Ron brings up a good point on Facebook. He says, is the U worthy of number 7? I'm not going to penalize teams for playing. Right. Now, people are saying, well, how are you going to penalize teams for not playing? That may not be fair, but that is the reality. That is the reality of it. I mean, you're playing only 8 games while everyone else is playing 10 to 11. That's 3 extra games per team. That they're making themselves vulnerable. Look at Oklahoma, look at Texas. I mean, look at all the losses they have combined right now before Ohio State even kicks off. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, well, man, I wish we would have just waited to the very end too and only played 8 games and only played select teams in our conference as far as that is concerned. So it's going to be interesting. It's not going to be about the teams that can't wait for that 4-team 1-spot race there towards the end. Yeah. Because the amount of arguments and anger, the amount of this isn't fair that's going to be coming out of those athletic directors and those head coaches and players and fans' mouths, it's going to be very warranted. It's going to be if I'm Florida and I have 1 loss, if let's say that they lose to Georgia late, and I'm Florida, I'm saying, hey, I've been in the top 5 this whole time, but because I lose to Georgia here in a few weeks, I have no shot of making the playoff. And Ohio State, they don't beat anybody of substance, and yet you're going to put them in just because they're Ohio State. Like, you're going to hear a lot of that as far as that's concerned. And the same thing goes for Georgia. If their only loss, let's say they beat Alabama, or let's say they beat Florida or whatever. They're going to be doing the same exact thing as far as that's concerned. I can't wait.
It's a good nightmare because it's going to be arguing left and right from every school in the nation that has a potential to get that fourth spot. And my whole thing about rankings, everything like that, it matters for the UCs of the world, for teams in that conference and the American where they start out. But I just don't think it really matters where an Ohio State or any team from the Power Five, because if you are in the Power Five and you run the table, you're in. And they've also made it clear that if you run the table and you're not in the Power Five, you're not in. We saw that with UCF. They ran the table. They beat Power Five opponents. Don't matter. Y'all ain't in. So for them, because they started so far back. So like you said, if they start up a little bit higher, then potentially they can crash the party or whatever. But UCF already lost this past weekend. So
there goes that. And there's really, I mean, you have what? I haven't even checked Memphis's track record as far as right now. I don't think they're in the. I'm checking that right now.
I think Memphis lost 2.
Yeah, so see, Memphis isn't in it. So Cincinnati's in trouble. But Cincinnati, basically, you're playing to remain undefeated the rest of the year. You have no top 25 opponents remaining. In Memphis, you're not going to crack that most likely, as will UCF. And if you do, it's going to be those low 20s, and it may not be enough to justify putting Cincinnati in at the very end. So that's why this matters. I mean, sometimes Ohio State gets punished too for the perception of the conference, because you'll have a top 5 matchup like last year. I'll never forget Ohio State, Wisconsin. That was a top 5 matchup, 2 teams in the top 5. It did not feel like a top 5 matchup. I mean, we're talking about Wisconsin being the number 5 team in the country last year at the time that they played. And then they get out on the field. That did not look like a top 5 matchup. I mean, Ohio State just literally inserted their dominance, and they literally showed, hey, if that's the number 5 team in the country, look at the gap between us and where the number 5 team in the country is. That almost hurts your conference. Like, you almost get punished for your greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as that's concerned, and it's true. And I think that happened with Penn State as well. In years past, when they've blown Penn State out of the water, when they're a top 10 team, they almost, because they blow out their top 10 opponents so bad, they almost lose credibility for it, because it's like, well, were they really a top 10 team? You just exposed them that they're not a top 10 team just based on how they performed against you.
Man, this is what college football is all about. We talk a lot of NFL and college football here. This is the difference between college football and NFL. If I don't know, name the number 1 team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, say they go on a 3-game losing streak, it doesn't matter, because they'll still have a chance to compete for the Super Bowl, But in college football, if you lose once, you're in jeopardy of not even making the playoff. So that's why we locked in. And that's why I don't want expansion of the playoff, because the regular season is the playoff. There's so much pressure to win every game. And now the point of victory, you want to blow teams out because you want to create that padding in case you do take an L. So if you're playing a Wisconsin, you want to put it on them. You want to make sure you score that extra touchdown to make you, hey, man, we won by 5 touchdowns. You play Nebraska, man, we put up 60 on Nebraska. You play Penn State, like, all right, it was a tight game, and people that actually watch the game know it was a tight game. In all actuality, they won by 10, but all right, man, let's score another touchdown at the end to make this margin of victory even bigger, to make it for the people that only box score watch. They'll be like, man, Ohio State just beat Penn State. They were ranked 7th. By 17, they're number 1, man. They're the best. Like, that's how people are, man. So I love it, man. I love college football.
All right, we're going to 457-9464. So, again, the Ohio State kicks off on the 24th. 2 days later, the first AP poll will come out. I'm keeping an eye on it. I know people say it doesn't matter, but I do believe it does, because I think you have to start looking at patterns of how teams are being perceived, because as we now know, it doesn't matter how we perceive our team. It doesn't matter how we perceive other teams. The only thing that matters is how the committee perceives teams. And although the College Football Playoff Committee is different than the AP, let's be honest, there's really not that much disparity between the two. They're usually fairly similar, especially there at the top. There's not a lot of disparity between 1 through 4. And at times you'll have that 4th team be different. Or, hey, maybe instead of 3 or 2, which could matter because of matchups, or 40 or 2 or whatever. But the bottom line is I do pay attention to that, because, again, when you talk about that college football playoff poll, how are we deciding who's good and who isn't? It's, top 25 opponents. Well, how many top 10 or 25 opponents has Alabama faced? They've already faced, 2 or 3 now. They're going to have their 4th one coming up around the corner. They have Georgia coming up in the regular season, Mississippi State, but we do it, to our point now. They beat Mississippi State, and we're like, it's they were overly ranked anyways, because the SEC is, they get favored. they're good. Those are good football teams. But just like when Ohio State beats Penn State, it doesn't mean Penn State's not a good football team. It just means Ohio State's that much better.
Right.
It doesn't mean Mississippi State's not a good football team. It just means Alabama is that much better. Here's the other issue I think we're going to see between Alabama and Buckeye fans is I think a lot of Buckeye fans are going to view Alabama and say they should not be number 2. They should be number 3, and Ohio State should be number 2. And I think it comes down to the fact that they've lost Tua Tagovailoa. They don't have that sexy name at quarterback, but you look at the numbers of Mac Jones right now, his numbers are very comparable, which, by the way, he's gone up against better competition than Trevor Lawrence. His numbers are very, he's within 100 yards of Trevor Lawrence for total yards. He has, I think, 3% less in his completion percentage. They have the same amount of touchdowns. He has no interceptions. Mac Jones has actually played really, really well.
Yes, sir.
So to lead things off, as far as that's concerned, just Mac Jones he's that typical Alabama quarterback. That's why when Alabama got Tua, it's like, man, they've been dominant without the Tua of the world. And now you take a dominant program and add a elite level quarterback into the mix. And now they're not just a well-run team. They are a dominant team. Alabama's still dominant. The quarterback, the name is not as sexy at this moment, but wait till you put Mac Jones in a playoff and he gets a playoff win and then you start, his resume starts improving. That's where you're going to start to see that as far as that is concerned. But yeah, I think Ohio State comes in at number 3 when that's all said and done. But I don't know how they pass. Like I said, I bring that up because I don't know how they pass Alabama or Clemson as far as that's concerned. Because Clemson, Alabama, they have big games remaining after Penn State in week 2. Technically, Ohio State's week 2 is garbage. They don't play anybody. And I don't know how good Michigan is. I mean, if you're a Buckeye fan, you better really be pulling that there's something there to work with by the end of the year. Otherwise, enjoy kicking Michigan's ass. But if they don't have a number in front of their program's name, if they don't have, if they're not viewed as one of the top 10 teams in the country, it's not doing you any favors as far as that's concerned. But as you just be top 4.
Yeah, it's the only thing that matters.
Keep Clemson number 1. If Clemson's going to be ranked ahead of Ohio State, I don't want them 2. I want them 1. I want Clemson number 1 so that sets up Ohio State Clemson come national title time. And how cool would that be to see Ohio State versus Alabama and Clemson all in the same year?
You're going to have to play some big dogs. Put on your big boy pads.
Or we'll see how cocky Buckeye fans are. Do you really want to play Alabama in the first round of the playoff?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I don't fan scared. Fan scared, man.
Hey, man, you do.
When you were in the college football playoff, you could play in the best of the best. Hey, you want to win a national championship, you got to beat the big dogs. You're not playing Northwestern, you're not playing Rutgers, you're not playing Miami of Ohio, you're not playing Citadel, you're not playing Alabama State.
Don't disrespect the MAC champion like that.
I love the MAC champion. Shots out. I had a lot of good times down there in Oxford, Ohio, back in my college days. But it's just the fact of the matter, man. You got to play 2 big dogs when you make it to the college football playoff.
All right, so we here at ESPN 1410 Wing AM are giving away $1,000 a day every hour starting at 6 a.m. We are revealing our hourly keyword, which you can take and submit at wingam.com. You enter it at wingam.com, and you'll be automatically in the running to win $1,000 that day. You can enter more than once, or you can enter more than 1 hour a day. So make sure every hour you are listening for that keyword, take it to wingam.com and enter it. You want a chance to win $1,000? All I need you to do is hang out with us for a little bit more through the commercial break, and I'll have that keyword for you when we come back. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest. Your winning word next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be clear, sunny, and windy with a high near 72. Tonight will also be clear with a low around 52. And tomorrow is going to be clear, sunny, and very windy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts takes the stress out of maintaining your home comfort system. Pay no money down, 1 low monthly rate, and nothing for maintenance and repairs. The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts. Learn more at 866-EXPERTS or StevensonHVAC.com. See website for license details.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say on the toy boat in your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
For summer DIY projects, you know the Home Depot's always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand. With digital tools like image search, snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshares. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, well, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sounds crazy, right? Well, the crazy thing is this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-384-3434. 800-384-3434. 800-384-3434.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
David Brandon will make an excellent probate judge.
He's honorable, he's honest.
He's a diligent worker, competent, very thorough in his work.
I think he will take the time to be conscientious and thoughtful about his decision making.
It isn't just that he knows the law, though. It's that he cares and why that matters.
David Brandon will work hard for the families of Montgomery County.
David was there for me, and I feel like he'll be there for other families as well. He knows the right thing to do.
I am David Brandon, and I approve this message.
It's time for Straight Talk, just like football. You want the best coverage with your wireless network without your wallet taking a hit? Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same nationwide coverage as the big carriers, America's best networks, for up to 50% less. Just $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data than 2G with an unlimited plan. No contract, no mystery fees. Don't get sidelined by weak protection. Get Straight Talk Wireless. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We're here to help. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $32.99, plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? Don't worry. You can sign up fast right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drive-bys is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, I love how we're always looking out for each other. Kind of like how Liberty Mutual looks out for you by customizing your home insurance. So you only pay for what you need.
Limu, why didn't you tell me about the uncovered manhole? I was literally just telling you. Limu, I had no idea you could swim.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Before your next flooring job, make Lowe's your first stop. See the latest styles in our new flooring showroom. We carry more tile, more vinyl, more laminate and hardwood than ever before. Whatever you need, we have the job lot quantities you expect at bulk pricing to save you money. Shop in store or online at lowesforpros.com. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Our pro team can help you get the job done right and on time. It's just one more reason why Lowe's is the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Limu, I love how we're always looking out for each other. Kind of like how Liberty Mutual looks out for you by customizing your home insurance. So you only pay for what you need.
Limu, why didn't you tell me about the uncovered manhole? I was literally just telling you. Limu, I had no idea you could swim.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com. Hey, you. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Buckeye fans, the season is finally here. No, for real this time. ESPN 1410 Wing AM is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Join us for the season opener on Saturday, October 24th, when Ohio State welcomes in Nebraska. Every tackle, every touchdown, and every Buckeyes win. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on a Tuesday. Coming up later on in the show, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. We'll talk your Browns, we'll talk your Bengals, and all the top headlines coming out of week 4 of the NFL season. We'll also preview some of the top matchups as we head into week 5. All right, it's time for you to have a shot to win $1,000. It's our ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest. Every hour, be listening for the word that wins. Again, you could take that keyword and enter it at wingam.com. Whenever you go to wingam.com, you will right there at the top of the page see the hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest logo. Click on that, enter the keyword, and again, you could enter every hour. Be listening for the word that wins every hour. The word that wins for, of course, the 3 o'clock hour. Enter the word TAN, TAN, TAN. Enter TAN at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It is that simple. The only thing it costs you is a few seconds of your time. So we appreciate that. So make sure you head to wingam.com. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest. Enter the keyword TAN, TAN at wingam.com. What are you doing? You can't do it. You can't enter it.
Why not?
Can't win.
Why?
My luck, I would enter it. My name, I would be with the one that wins and say, oh, sorry, I can't. We're not allowed to win, apparently, because we might, rig it or something. I'm not really sure how that would work. But actually, I'm sure I can figure it out. But, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So,
man, extra $1,000, man, especially in today's times, man, that would be awesome.
Yep.
But we can't win. But you can win.
Speaking of that, I see that stimulus check is trending on Twitter, so I'm not going to click on that.
Oh, is it?
So you're going to need a substitute for your stimulus check that you're not going to get. So you might as well give yourself a shot to win that $1,000 right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. One more time, enter the keyword TAN at wingam.com. Okay, so found this interesting. I mean, I've heard a lot of people criticizing, I'm not really criticizing, but I guess just ripping the Texans. We're going to give our top 4 or our top 5, bottom 5 NFL teams coming up around the corner at the top of the hour, Kev. The Houston Texans late yesterday moved on from, of course, Bill O'Brien, and rightfully so. They should have done that. However, it was interesting listening to a lot of shows. They said that Bill O'Brien's going to be labeled for the bad decisions he made as the GM, not so much as the coach. I mean, he won games with some very average quarterbacks. He did, you know what I mean? He actually is not a terrible coach. Whoever, I mean, when a team needs, the next time a team needs a coach, they should give him a call. He is not a bad head coach. He is a very bad general manager. But I keep laughing at the people that say you shouldn't hold him accountable for that. You should blame the person that gave him all that power. Well, if you accept the job, you automatically become responsible for how you do that job. You can't just say, yeah, well, they put me here and I wasn't ready to do the job. It's on them. No, it's on you too, because you accepted the job knowing that you probably have some faults there. You're probably thinking, okay, as the general manager, he helped get the deal done for Deshaun Watson to make Deshaun Watson the second highest paid quarterback in NFL history. They also have the highest payroll in the National Football League. So when you have the highest payroll in any sport, if you go to the NBA and you look at the team that has spent the most money, you better be fighting for a conference championship at the very least. If you go to Major League Baseball, and again, money doesn't always buy championships, but you better be winning a lot of games. And the only reason you shouldn't be winning games is injuries. That's really the only excuse why a team that is the highest payroll team in baseball should not be, and again, it's not fair to say winning World Series, but at least winning your division and getting to the playoffs. Same thing with football. You can't be spending more money than anyone else in the NFL and be 0-4 1 month into the season, and that's where the Texans find themselves looking for their next head coach. Romeo Crennel, the interim coach now moving forward. It was funny. I was listening to Byers talk about, all the bad coaches that have come under the Bill Belichick tree.
Right.
And he was ranking him, saying he might be one of the worst ones right there as far as that's concerned. Well, now, it's just funny that he's an interim coach right now as far as that's concerned. Good defenses.
You look at the AFC South, obviously you have the Houston Texans, you got the Colts, you got the Jaguars, and you got the Titans. It's looking like Titans are just taking a stranglehold on that division, but we look at everything that's going on with the Colts, with them having the quote-unquote number one defense in the NFL, and then making a move to get Phillip Rivers to quote-unquote stabilize the quarterback room and everything like that. But if you're the Houston Texans going into the season, you say that you're going to be battling all the way to the end with the Tennessee Titans. Currently, they're undefeated. Obviously, they missed their game this week versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, so they're still just 3-0. But now you're behind the 8 ball and you're 0-4. And we talked about them trying to get a replacement for DeAndre Hopkins. All the rumors about Antonio Brown. Then we talked about, all right, they need somebody on the back end of the secondary. So you heard all the rumors about Earl Thomas and him coming in for a workout and them ultimately not signing him. It's just a lot going on down there with the Houston Texans, and it all centers around the head coach / GM just not getting it done in any way, shape, or form this season. Because I saw this morning on ESPN, they were talking about, after being up 24-7 against KC in the second quarter, and Kansas City stormed back and ended up beating them by 20, by the way, they were done. They were shot. And you look at everything they've been doing now, trading DeAndre Hopkins. You would think since they signed Laremy Tunsil to shore up that offensive line and signed Deshaun Watson, they would be able to do something. But apparently not.
Yeah, and you talked about that division. It's a winnable division, maybe not so much now as you're 0-4. And I think that the Colts, you can't figure out. The Colts are going to be that 7-8 win team, 9 if they're really good, which I don't anticipate them winning 9. I could see them that 7-8 win team. The Titans, they're 3-0. The one, again, we've said this before, but I'm just so disappointed that them and the Steelers, because we're trying to figure out who are the contenders and pretenders. Right. And I'm not saying a week 4 matchup would have for sure labeled you as a contender, but you could have at least been put in that category for the time being. I don't know where to put the Titans right now, because they are not the same defense that they were a year ago. Right. In fact, I was listening to some sports talk alert today, and it was interesting. Greeny. He was ranking. They were ranking, or no, it was Colin. I'm sorry, Colin. He was ranking his teams. He actually had, he had the Browns ranked ahead of the Tennessee Titans, just because he said, look, the Titans defense is really bad. The Browns defense is bad, but they have activity. They're forcing turnovers. They're chaotic as far as that's concerned, but their offense is more explosive. So he goes, he's not comfortable on the Titans. I thought he brought up a lot of interesting points as far as that's concerned. So I'm not ready to put the Titans as a contender, but again, I put them in that boat with the Colts, where they're going to be that 8-9 win team. Texans aren't coming back to do anything. They're going to finish with 6, or if they're lucky and they have a good finish to the season after the coaching change, they might be a 6-7 win team as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, they're done. I mean, you can't go start the season 0-4 and make the playoffs. What's the whole thing? You can't start 0-2 and make the playoffs. So you sure not going to make the playoffs at 0-4. So it's all about, just trying to maintain and bettering the guys on the team and getting ready for next year. And it's hard to think about that. Like, man, we're only 4 weeks into the season. We're already thinking about next year, but that's where they are.
Absolutely. And by the way, we are live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Listen, stream, and now watch. You can watch us weekday afternoons from 3 to 6. Gary Lepla on Facebook says, as a proud Browns fan, I can finally say that they are not in the bottom 5. They have not been in the bottom 5 all year, as far as I'm concerned, at least not. And when Kevin and I do our top 5, bottom 5, we have never had those guys. We've never had the Browns in the top or the bottom 5. They're not in the top 5, but I promise you they're not in either of our bottom 5s as far as that's concerned. The Browns still a team that I think a lot of people are trying to figure out. I do know that they have at least stepped foot out of what they were last year. We just don't know what that means yet. That's why that big test with Pittsburgh coming up, because here's what I see happening. If the Browns beat Pittsburgh in 2 weeks, because that's the game I've circled to say, okay, if the Browns beat the Colts this week, which I believe they do, I think they're going to be 4-1 going into that 4-0 matchup, going up against the Steelers, who would be 4-0. If the Browns beat the Steelers, it's going to be because, by the way, I didn't know this yesterday when we were talking about this. I had to go back and double check. The Steelers are undefeated, but all their wins have come against teams who have no wins either. Like right. All their opponents are, and I think you might have mentioned that. And it just went right over my head, so I apologize. But their opponents are all defeated. I don't think the Steelers are bad. I don't know if they're great. I had them in my top 5 last week just because Big Ben looks comfortable. They already look night and day better than they did last year. Maybe it's the opponents that they're playing, but I'm ranking it based on how I see Big Ben. Big Ben looks comfortable, but we'll see when he has Myles Garrett rushing him. We'll see when he has some legit pass rushers.
And that's why I'm 100% with you. That's why I was so mad that Tennessee game got postponed till later, because that's where I was at with it. And that's why I always had Tennessee in my top 5 and not the Steelers because of who they played. And like, oh yeah, Ben looks good, but like, these teams ain't good. So I want to see him go up against a team that's actually good. So that's where I'm at with it. They're getting another questionable team this week with Philadelphia. And let me be one thing clear too. When you win in the NFL, you don't need to make excuses why you won a game. If the team is 0-3, 0-5, 0-6, oh well, that's the league. Because guess what? If you lose to that team, you still get that loss. So go out there and handle your business and win the football game. Steelers hopefully can win this game against Philly and make this matchup versus the Browns on the 18th epic.
Ron on Facebook says, with Oklahoma being 1-2, does Lincoln Riley bolts for the Texans job? I get uncomfortable when college teams who hit a little bit of a rough patch, we right away start saying, well, that coach is going to bail. That coach is going to bail. If there was ever a time for Lincoln Riley to bail, as we talked about yesterday, it would have been after last year. And I don't look at it as bailing. I look at it as a coach who would look at the NFL as an opportunity to go see if I have what it takes to be a successful head coach in the NFL. And if I'm not successful, I was at, 3 or 4 straight playoff appearances, 3 straight Heisman finalist quarterbacks. 2 of those 3 actually took home the Heisman, the Heisman Trophy as far as that's concerned. His stock was at an all-time high, even with getting beat down by halftime against LSU last year. So as far as that goes, Lincoln Riley should have left last year. I don't see him leaving moving forward. You're going to have down years. Paterno had down years. Great coaches had down years. We didn't hear that when Ohio State lost to Purdue, when they lost to Iowa, about maybe Urban should just leave and go to the NFL. No, it's just, hey, he needs to have him better prepared. Oklahoma, you're not going to hit a home run every single time. And right now, by the way, this would have probably happened last year had they not been able to hit the free agent market, same thing, the transfer portal, and get Jalen Hurts. I think we would have seen Oklahoma struggle a little bit last year.
Spencer Rattler, who's a redshirt freshman this year, who's struggling. Imagine how he would have been last year as a true freshman, straight out of high school, 18 years old, thrown into that spotlight. We talk about all the weapons that Oklahoma has, but this year there is no Jalen Hurts, there is no CeeDee Lamb, so I know the guy Charlton Rambo is supposed to be plugging into that spot, but you lose guys like Hollywood Brown, and then the following year you lose CeeDee Lamb, so you're going to take a step back. And I know everybody talks about schools that don't recruit, they reload. Well, in a COVID year, when you don't have spring ball, you don't have 7-on-7 practice, you just go in straight into August ball, and then you just roll out there and play football. These type of things happen. And to that, I say, oh, well, because everybody's playing under that COVID world. So do I see him making a jump to the NFL? Not this season. I don't see why would you do the Texans and not the Cowboys?
Yep. The real show in town, is right in the state, I should say.
And I mean, they are loaded offensively. The Cowboys are loaded. So all those toys, your mind, those toys, but you go to the Texans, I just don't see it. I don't see that happening.
I think if Dak would have looked like it's only 4 games, a lot of the season left. If Dak would have played last year the way he's looked the first 4, again, I don't care about the Cowboys' record. Cowboys are not playing that well right now. Well, they're not playing well defensively. Right. I mean, again, I'm watching it. They're playing really well offensively. In fact,
not fumbling the ball.
You know, you make that field goal against the Rams. You obviously, you able to sustain that lead against the Seahawks with the bad defense, but Dak Prescott did enough to beat one of the top 5 teams in the National Football. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I was like. Dak Prescott is carrying his end of the weight. I can actually say that for once. Me and you spent all summer me beating up on Dak Prescott, but this is what I was waiting to see. He wants to get paid like Patrick Mahomes. He don't look like Patrick Mahomes. He looks like Patrick Mahomes right now. And people are like, oh, how can you say that? Look at his team. Again, I get that, but look at the player himself. Dak Prescott's not missing tackles. Dak Prescott's not letting, these running backs just run all over. That's where the Cowboys are going to have to address that. But no, Texas, I mean, look, I see Lincoln Riley staying put. I do see Texas potentially maybe getting that itch. And the one coach that I think would be very interesting is Urban Meyer. Could you imagine a situation where Urban Meyer comes back to coaching? We kept saying you or me. I can't remember where you were with that, but USC I thought made a ton of sense. But USC has stuck to their guns about we want nothing to do with Urban Meyer.
Right.
I could see Texas saying, hey, maybe we're not gonna move on from our guy now, but if we do have a shot to go get an Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer is going to look for an opportunity that he's going to be able to go and win in a program that's going to be able to cement his legacy and surpass a guy like Nick Saban and some of the other, because he hasn't passed Nick Saban. No. But you go to Texas or you go to USC or you go to a team in another conference and win a national title in 3 different conferences, then you can have that conversation of Urban better than Nick Saban, even with the amount of titles that Nick Saban has in Alabama as far as that goes.
You think Herb still has the itch?
I think he's going to be. I still think that if USC called him, he would be at USC right now. He would not be doing Fox right now, in my opinion. He never came out and said, I'm done coaching completely. Right. He said, I believe I'm done coaching. And he would have that smirk on his face when they asked him. And people were getting mad. I never got mad. I just said, good for him. I mean, look, leaving the door open. That's great. College football needs him to come back. I think Texas, and think about that too, who he'd be replacing. Like that would make that even sweeter as far as that is concerned. But it'll be interesting as far as that plays out. But Texas is in trouble. I mean, I'm tired of hearing about Texas is back. Texas is back. Texas is going to get desperate. They keep going. They went the Charlie Strong route. They've gone the route of up and coming guys. They've gone the route of young coaches who have proven themselves elsewhere. I think they're done with that. I think Texas makes a strong push at Urban Meyer, and I would have no problem with it whatsoever. I think it would be great. For one, it'd be humongous for college football because if you could spread the wealth, if you can have dominant elite programs at least one in every conference. If you can get Texas out of the Big 12 with Urban Meyer to be that, if you have Ohio State with Ryan Day, you have Nick Saban, Alabama, and Clemson and Dabo Swinney, how great would that be every year to have 4 conferences to where it would really make that argument of who gets that 4th spot legit. I think it would be great for college football. That's all.
I mean, we talk about coaches that go to the booth and the guys that don't come back, like a Bill Cowher, like it was rumors for him for years, talking about he's going to get back into the game, and he never went back. And then John Gruden, so many rumors about him going to college, rumors floating around about him taking every job in the NFL, but the right spot for him popped up and the right amount of money, to be perfectly honest, with the Raiders. And he was out of the game for so long. I'm going to have to Google that, how long John Gruden was on Monday Night Football.
10 years.
Yeah,
he wasn't on Monday Night Football for 10 years, but he was out of coaching for a good 10, probably was more than 10 years. Man, it was a long time.
And he jumped back in. So at this rate, if he can do it, I wouldn't put it past any of these guys to come back. I mean, you be out the game for that long and then jump back into it 10 toes deep. Go for it. Urban Meyer, I do have a love-hate relationship with Urban Meyer. We talked about it tons and tons behind the scenes and on air, but just for him, if he was to do that, I mean, that's something that will shake up college football to no end.
And just like when he returned to Ohio State, it shook up, it shook up college football.
It makes you level up. When you get a coach like to that magnitude, it makes everybody else have to level up. We saw what Michigan did. They went out and got Harbaugh, and everybody else is trying to level up because, like, all right, we can stand pat. Yeah, that coach at Ohio State is good, but Ohio State recruits itself, yada, yada, yada. They went and got this guy. He's going to get guys from all over the place. As much as I love Jim Tressel, he was fence around the state of Ohio, pluck where I need to pluck to get these guys on my team, and we can dominate and win. And they did. But Urban Meyer is a national recruiter, and he made Ohio State a national program. And that's exactly what he'll do if he comes back to anywhere he goes. You know what I'm saying? If it's Texas, if it's USC, anywhere, any team that's down, he'll get them back within 2-3 years. Not even 3 years, 2 years. Urban Meyer goes to Texas. They're playing for a national championship in 2 years.
Hell, he had Ohio State undefeated.
Yes.
After the down year they had the year before, he had them undefeated right away. As far as that's concerned.
What about Herb to Notre Dame? Everybody
I'll tell you why.
Coached back at Notre Dame.
It's not good for college football if he goes to Notre Dame. Here's why.
Because you hate Notre Dame?
No, it's because look what he did when he went back to the Big Ten. He didn't just elevate Ohio State; he elevated everyone around him. You go to Texas, you go to the Big 12. Guess what Urban's going to do? Not only are you going to recruit offensively, you're going to elevate the perception of what defense actually is in the Big 12. So now it's going to force the hand of all the coaches around the Big 12 to elevate their game. He made the Big 10 better.
Yes.
So if he goes to the Big 12 and makes that conference better, that's better for college football than going to an independent where who else are you touching in that regard? You know what I mean? I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but to me, I would rather see him go elevate a conference versus elevate an independent because I want Notre Dame to stop being cowards and actually go join a conference.
They are in the ACC.
As that's concerned. Steve Stetler says, no respect left for Urban Meyer. And that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Steve?
But I do believe it's only because Ryan Day is good why fans are easy. They're more willing to embrace their dislike for Urban because of Ryan Day doing well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like Buckeye fans would have overlooked a lot of things with Urban had he stayed and just continued winning. Winning heals all. But now it's like Ohio State keeps winning. It's like, well, we don't need Urban Meyer. All right, we'll be back in a moment. Steve Stetler responded back with, public liar. And then David Kendrick says winning fixes everything as far as that's concerned. And Steve does say he doesn't think Meyer can win at Texas or fit. Meyer can't fix Texas. I disagree. I think here's Texas's problem. All their top recruits. I saw a list. I was watching the Texas game over the weekend. They had like a laundry list of all the top Texas talent that had left over the last 2 or 3 years that had gone to play elsewhere.
Right.
Ohio State had a lot of those guys. Clemson, Alabama had a lot of those guys. Yes. I mean, that's a lot of guys that Texas let go. That left the state. And we all know how, I mean, we talked about the importance of, what Tressel did here in Ohio. That means even more in Texas.
Yes.
Because there's way more talent. Not a lot more, but there's more talent in Texas,
yes.
Elite talent that they're like, hey, they should not be leaving our, perimeter as far as that's concerned. I tell you, we have a couple minutes. We'll be back. 457-9464. I know this is random, but I believe that what would be best for college football is for Urban Meyer to get back into coaching. And no, not even in the Pac-12, the Big 12. I think Texas would be an amazing spot for Urban Meyer to end up. A shot to win a national championship for the third different conference. And it would elevate a conference. I'm tired of it just being the SEC Big 10 with a sprinkled in Clemson out of the ACC. I want another conference to hold their weight. We'll be back in a moment. More of your Facebook reaction, more of your phone calls at 457-9464. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oktoberfest and football are at Milano's. Bavarian pretzels, German beers, schnitzel, and more. Come in and watch the game or get it to go. All carry-out beers are 25% off every day at Milano's Pizza, Subs, and Taps.
Cleveland State women's basketball coach Chris Kilsmeyer, COVID survivor.
I was fatigued, just like every other basketball coach in March, but didn't think about getting sick. I woke up one night with the worst pains and chills I'd ever experienced. I tested positive for coronavirus and immediately self-quarantined. I got worse and worse and checked into the hospital. Multiple times I said, I don't want to die. We know what works. We know how to fight this, but it's going to take all of us doing the right thing every single day.
Sponsored by the Ohio Hospital Association.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Save big money and get 11% off everything at Menards. Keep your home's temperature comfortable through every season while saving energy with Honeywell thermostats. Menards has a great selection of programmable and Wi-Fi units to control with your phone or tablet. Save 11% on all Honeywell thermostats. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Prices are good until Saturday, October 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
OHMB 803342 NMLS 304138. At 3rd Street Financial, we help people with home loans. If you're not financially responsible, we can't help you. If you're wealthy with good credit, we are ready to help you 7 days a week. If you're somewhere in the middle and having issues trying to finance an Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, or Florida property, you need to call Forrest Ferris immediately at 513-320-5911. We're 3rd Street Financial, and Forrest Ferris specializes in home loans for responsible people who might have had a financial setback. We close home loans banks cannot or will not approve. Our clients might have bruised credit, been through a divorce, are buying a home for sale by owner, or be dealing with probate or estates. Call Forrest now for a free estimate. 513-320-5911. That's 513-320-5911. Offer valid for purchase or refinancing of property located in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, or Florida only. Limitations and restrictions apply.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations, serving the greater Dayton and Cincinnati area, is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase. Visit on Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
Call It Propane has been serving the Buckeye Nation in the Miami Valley for over 65 years.
Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Ask about the service options at 937-372-9194.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Call It Propane and Call It Seal Coating are proud to serve the Buckeye Nation.
Cordell Transportation is hiring Class A CDL drivers 23 and over, less than 6 points on their license, for no-touch freight home daily lanes, outstanding new equipment. Earn up to $270 per day, $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, and paid life insurance. Apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Bromley's for Men would physically shave your face for you if we could. Since we can't, we made our 7-blade razor and Get a Grip handle the simple choice for the smoothest shave. Bromley's for Men in the shaving aisle at Kroger.
John McManus is running hard to be our Montgomery County treasurer. Montgomery County is already one of the highest tax counties in the state. It seems like every day we're being told to pay higher and higher taxes. Now, in the middle of a pandemic, we're told to get ready for another tax increase next year. When John McManus was vice president of the largest school board in Montgomery County, he fought against property tax increases. As our next county treasurer, he'll stand with us again. This November, vote John McManus for Montgomery County treasurer.
I'm John McManus, and I approve this message.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Hi,
Hi, it's Mike Greenberg letting you know to stay tuned at 3 o'clock later today for the Justin Kinner Show. You can also stream the show live at WINGAM.com.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we have ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz coming up here half hour from now, 4:30. He'll join us. We'll talk about your Browns, your Bengals, and some of the top headlines coming out of Week 4 as we head into Week 5 of the National Football League season. We are off and rolling, it does look like, with continued testing going on with the Titans. All the positive tests, they've come to a halt at least, and it looks like they're going to be able to resume practice and preparation for Week 5 coming up. And, of course, that goes for the Steelers as well. Cam Newton continuing to do well as far as the protocol. If he tests negative twice this week, he will be available and ready to play for the Patriots coming up on Sunday. So we were discussing, and coming up here in 5 minutes, by the way, we will get into our NFL top 5, bottom 5. That's coming up here in 5 minutes. I just wanted to come back and get a couple more Facebook responses. We were talking college football. We were talking about the coaching changes, or the vacancy in the NFL now with the Houston Texans, and you'd have to imagine that the Jets are going to be open. And right away, you start thinking about all the big name candidates out there to fill those slots, as well as the names in college. And we started talking about some of the coaching jobs that could be open at the college level as well. You look at the issues at Texas right now. Texas already in the dumps as far as that's concerned. Texas has yet to be able to take advantage. Like, say what you want about Lincoln Riley and say what you want about Oklahoma, say what you want about the Big 12. But good coaches know how to capitalize on opportunities. Like, you could say what you want about the ACC. Does that take away anything that Dabo Swinney's been able to accomplish at Clemson? Because what it looks like to me is that while everyone else has not been able to figure out how to win in that bad conference, Dabo Swinney and Clemson has, while everyone else in the Big 12 has yet to be able to find a way to dominate that conference. Oklahoma's done just fine with Lincoln Riley. Texas, that's not been the case. They are headlined every year by that big loss, and they're headlined at they cap it all off at the end of the year with that dumb, let's win our bowl game, which is, I hate bowl games. I think they mean nothing. Me and you defer on that. But they mean nothing, and then they win their bowl game. Texas is back, and then there's all the headlines for the next year, and then they do what they've done already. So I think Texas, I don't know if they'll be actively looking to move on from their head coach at this exact moment, but I do believe that if feelers are put out and Urban Meyer was willing to come back into coaching, that would be a program that would make a lot of sense for him. And it would make a lot of sense for them as they've gone the young coach route. They've tried to go out, they've got, Charlie Strong. They've tried to go out and get coaches that have proven themselves elsewhere, and that they believe that Texas is going to be the spot where they come and they cement their legacy and they come and they, hit the ground running. That's not been the case. Tom Herman, that has not been the case. It has just not worked out for him as far as that's concerned. I think that they're tired of going that route. I think they need to land a legacy hire, and that legacy hire would be Urban Meyer, in my opinion. Whether he'll do it, I don't know, but I don't think he shut the door on coaching. I think he looks at this as an opportunity, if it presents itself. For one, it'd be a little stab at Tom Herman, which I think is a, check. I think that's a plus as far as that goes. But also, you get to go there and potentially win a national championship in a third different conference. No other coach has done that. I think that's what would separate him from some of the other greats. And I think that he really does care about that as far as that's concerned.
And every program across the nation has a wish list, a call list for if things go off the rails, and people that they call if their season goes off the rails. I'm not going to say Texas season is off the rails yet. It's one loss. We've seen Oklahoma have one loss seasons and still make it to the college football playoff. So I'm not going to, me personally, I'm not the guy that jumps out there early. I always am the guy, let's see how it plays out. That's
no fun. Then you might as well turn the mic off and just come back at the end of the year. I tell that to callers. I'm like,
you are correct. But that is how I view things. I always say, let's see how things go out. But they always have a call list, and they would need to be doing their due diligence behind the scenes just to say, what's up, Herb? What's up, so-and-so? Whomever that may be, that they will want to replace their head coach if things go off the rails. You always got to have that filler out there, and trust and believe. Texas has a lot of money. I know we're dealing with COVID and everything like that. They'll make it happen if they need to. And same things goes for Texas A&M. You know, they spent a lot of money to get Jimbo Fisher down there at Texas A&M. And I think they're looking at their return on their investment like, yo, man, we gave you a lot of money. And I think Jimbo is looking at it like, man, maybe I should have stayed at Florida State because, you know, there's only one team there. There's only Clemson, and I could have kept on doing what I was doing, at least coming in second place.
That made no sense. Him going.
It's all about the money, dog. I mean, they gave him everything underneath the sun. So, you know, when you look at these college football coaches and you look at guys that make that jump to the NFL, you know, we talked about it yesterday with Nick Saban. He went to the Dolphins, came back. You know, do you see any potential coaches in the NFL coming to the world of college football?
No. Not off the top of my head, I really don't. I mean, I can't think of, for one, the NFL, you're pushing out the old and you're replacing them with some of the younger, newer out of college. You know, it used to be you push out the old with some of the older accomplished college coaches. Now it's like they want, I mean, the Ryan Days and the Lincoln Rileys of the world are who the NFL is targeting. Tom Herman, maybe. I don't think he would be a hot commodity in the NFL, especially if things go sour. If the only thing you think of him right now is how things are going at Texas, I think that would be tough as far as that's concerned. Billy Wright on Facebook says, when Ryan Day goes to the NFL, I will gladly take Urban Meyer back at Ohio State. And I think that's going to be a popular take for a lot of Buckeye fans out there. I don't think Urban Meyer left on bad terms. Everyone was super disappointed that he was leaving. And let's be clear, it's easy now to say, oh, Ryan Day, they definitely got it right. I think that even though people felt okay about Ryan Day, no one knew that it was going to be okay. And let's be clear, we don't know. I mean, recruiting wise, you know, his very first year as head coach, you get to the college football playoff, let things breathe. Because if we're watching Lincoln Riley, things kind of fizzle out as the team becomes more his than Stoops. Ryan Day is going to need a year or two before the roster is officially more his and less Urban. We're seeing the roster for Oklahoma as each year goes by be more his and less Stoops. Ryan Day's 1 year into Urban's roster still. And his guys aren't even technically here yet. Not all of them. Justin Fields, he'll get credit for. That's fantastic. But technically, not like, so we're talking about how Oklahoma is struggling right away because of Rattler, and, you know, they got bailed out last year because they were able to hit the recruiting trail. This year could have been Ohio State had they not gotten Justin Fields with Tate Martell. And by the way, I think Tate would have been, maybe, I don't know. A lot of people think under that system, whatever, he could have been okay. They would have won some games, but Ohio State would not have been elite. So that time is going to come where you don't always have that heavy hitter in the cupboard. But people are used to Urban Meyer and Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban, who that actually is not the case. I mean, you lose Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama hasn't missed a beat. That's the expectation at those schools, but that's not always it's not always easily accomplished elsewhere.
And that's how you have to set things up as a program. You know, everything that was put in place with Ohio State football under Jim Tressel, that continued. I mean, I know they had the bump year where, you know, Tackgate and things went into the hamper and everything like that. But I mean, you insert Urban Meyer into the culture of the Ohio State football program, it took off. And now you got Ryan Day there, and the culture is set. Not only the culture is set by, you know, the administration, but the strength department. Everything's in there set up for them to succeed. So all he has to do is keep doing what he's doing. I mean, it's so easy to say that, though. It's so easy. Well, just keep everything the same. You know, when recruiting is 100% your responsibility, you have to vet the student athletes that you're bringing into the school. You know, everybody talks about how great the student athletes are at Ohio State, and they are. But, you know, you can't front like some bad apples not going to get into the program. And when bad apples, quote unquote, get into your program, that's where things go awry. You know, you look at some programs where their culture changes and it's all about making the league, and, you know, that sacrifice isn't there anymore. You know, you look at guys that only care about getting paid, and that's a cultural thing. And that's why Ohio State's program is so great, because they're not only sending guys to the league in the first round and everything like that, but the culture is still great, and you have guys making sacrifices, and we can only hope that Ryan Day can keep that going.
Yeah, and he's off to a great start.
Absolutely.
But we said the same. Lincoln Riley's off to a great start. But like, this roster is more his than any. There might be one or two pieces remaining from a Stoops thumbprint as far as that's concerned. But this is we're 4 years removed. No, I think this roster is completely with Lincoln Riley's, if I'm not mistaken. we're well removed. I mean, it could be maybe a little bit of a thumbprint of guys that were being looked at when Stoops was there, but like it's going to be a few more years before you realize, okay, is Ryan Day, like he's going to keep the program afloat and he's going to keep them up to those expectations. And by the way, his recruiting classes are unreal. Like there's no doubt as far as that goes, as far as right now is concerned, you're capitalizing off the height of the program. Can you keep it there? Can you keep the classes coming in? Can you keep winning? Can you keep it into the playoffs? If you have to give Ryan Day a grade right now, it's an A+++ times 4. But again, every year it's going to become more difficult as far as that's concerned. And I think that's why you saw so many people desperate for this year, because after Justin Fields, now you're venturing off into the world of the unknown. You have your high star recruits, all that stuff, but that's a big world of the unknown because that offensive line is going to be picked apart and moved away. Justin Fields is going to be gone. Now you got to rely on your Jack Millers. Now you got to rely on your Ryan Day quarterbacks to see what exactly you have. And you're going to find out more about Ryan Day earlier in his coaching tenure than we are about Lincoln Riley in his, because this is Lincoln Riley's guy.
Right.
And it's taken a few years before he truly got his guy. Now, he was a part of the staff when Baker and them were here, don't get me wrong, but this is his first quarterback that was his, that belongs to him as far as him being the guy there. And that's going to be the case for Ohio State moving forward as well. With Ryan Day, Steve goes, why do you think USC won't touch him? He's a liability. I agree with you, but let's be clear. All coaches have some kind of background or there's always some kind of scum things going on in every program. Jim Tressel is one of the nicest human beings. He's the most buttoned up human being you will ever meet. And look, he found himself in a situation. There's no such thing as a perfect, clean program. Ohio State's not clean. I mean, I don't care. If you talk football, basketball, they're not squeaky clean. No program is. Not the ones that are winning anyways.
Right.
That's just the reality. That's not me throwing shade. That's the reality of it. It sucks that it has to be that way, but that is the reality of it as far as that's concerned. Here's another hot take that I would throw out there. If you look at Cincinnati, would Urban Meyer ever get the itch to maybe really challenge himself and take Cincinnati? Like his legacy, imagine it's one thing if you do it in those but go to an outside the Power 5 conference and go try to win a championship at Cincinnati. This is way out of the box. I find it very unlikely, but I don't at the same time. It's still in state. Ties there.
Way.
I'm just saying. I mean, when you look at Fickle, because he's on his way out the door, there's no loyalty to Cincinnati. It's that MSU was a crap show, so he wasn't going to go there and lose and then shoot his legacy and flush it down the drain. Fickle will take a good job. It could be Texas. Fickle could be the next guy at Texas. Fickle is gone after this year one way or another. So everyone that was like, oh, he's what we need more of in college football. What, guys that turn down bad opportunities to tough it out for one more year to find a better one? That's what everyone does. So it is what it is as far as that's concerned. Just I'm saying, it's a hot take. It's very unlikely.
It ain't even Friday. You dropping hot takes, man. You out here dropping hot takes. And for people that don't think programs can just go down the crapper, you can look at what happened at the U with Miami. They were on top of the world. Everything that Butch Jones built that program up to be, Larry Coker took over, brought them back to the national championship game, lost to the Buckeyes. They were still riding high off of everything that was built before that, but slowly but surely they went down. Then you look at what happened at Florida, Urban Meyer. He picked them up after Spurrier and Ron Zook or whatever, and then Will Muschamp took over. Nosedive. Like, we've seen this. I mean, shoot, with my Florida State Seminoles, Jimbo checked out, and then Willie Taggart, and what's going on now? Like, it happens in a blink of an eye, man. So the pressure to keep things going, not only winning, but keeping that culture right. I'm a big person about culture because I believe that when you have the right culture and the power programs like an Ohio State and an Alabama, winning's going to take care of itself because you're going to get in there the supreme athletes. But having that culture, having guys willing to make that sacrifice for the team is next level. I mean, you think about guys that are opting back in. Wyatt Davis opted back in. Sean Wade opted back in. I mean, we talked about Travis Etienne at Clemson was a potential third-round pick in the NFL draft. He came back for his senior year. Like, it's guys opting back in. You don't see that everywhere. You don't see Michael Parsons opting back in at Penn State. So the culture speaks volumes. People want to be a part of that. So, they have something special going on in Columbus, and we can only hope that no one tests positive for COVID. We get through this season and we bring back that trophy.
Don't be afraid of COVID. We'll be back.
Let it dominate you.
Top 5, bottom 5 NFL next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Do you have foot pain? Did you know foot pain is not normal, regardless of your age, activities, or job? Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet based on their education, training, and experience. Your podiatrist can provide you with important foot care solutions like shoe inserts, so you're able to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association members are bound by the highest ethical standards and have access to superior ongoing medical education and resources. Ask if your podiatrist is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. After all, we've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Hi, Joey Beckett here at Buckeye Ford in Sydney, home of the Works Package and the Double Take Tire Specials. Call today for your appointment, 937-419-8473 or 1-800-700-0050. Buckeye Ford in Sydney, exit 92 off of I-75. We'll see you soon.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
Hey, who wants free money? Who are we kidding? We all do. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Listen for the word that wins 18 times a day, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the keyword at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, hour two, well into hour two. It is the Justin Kinner Show. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on a Tuesday. Coming up here in just about 10 minutes or so, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz from Spain and Fitz. He'll join us. We'll talk about your Browns. We'll talk about your Bengals. We'll talk about some of the top headlines coming out of week 4 of the NFL. We'll also preview some of the top headlines heading into week 5. Are the Browns for real? Can the Bengals build on their first win of the season and maybe turn this around quicker than we thought? Where will Eric Bieniemy end up? We'll get to all that coming up here in 10 minutes with ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. Let's do our little top 5, bottom 5 in the NFL. Kev, we're going to start with you. You want to start with your top 5 or your bottom 5?
Bottom 5. Let's get these bums up out of here.
These are Kev Nash's bums, NFL bums, the worst 5 teams in the NFL after week 4. Take a look. We're live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show. You see Kev Nash's list right there. Kev started at number 32. The worst team in the NFL is who?
New York Jets.
No shocker there. No shocker there.
31. New York Giants. Do you think they could both go 0-16? How awesome would that be?
They don't play one another. They don't. I mean, but Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, could they really go 1-2? And I don't even know if the Jets are willing to move on from Sam Darnold, but they got a decision to make as far as that is concerned. But yeah,
I'm really hoping they both do, because my aunt, she lives in New York, and she always talks about how great the Yankees are and all that stuff. I would love to rub this in her face that both their teams 0-16. So I'm hoping for it. Anyway, moving on. 30, another team from the NFC least, the Washington football team. They're done. Haskins, love you. Love everything you did with the Buckeyes, but it's not happening. And it just looks bad. They look bad. I tune into those games because so many Buckeyes play for them. Just like
you call them the Washington
Buckeyes. And they just look terrible, man. And I mean, Ron Rivera is a good coach, but it's just not happening. It's just not happening for them right now, especially offensively wise. 29, the other 0-4 team in the NFL, the Falcons. As much talent is on their football team offensively, they're not winning games. And head coach Dan Quinn, the seat is on fire for him right now down there in the ATL. So Falcons, New Jerseys, it don't work. It's not happening. You're done. 28, Detroit Lions. You're staying in there. Unfortunately, you're moving closer and closer to being out of the bottom 5, but you're still in my bottom 5. Took another loss over the weekend.
And that is, again, Kev Nash's bottom 5. The worst team in the NFL, according to Kev Nash. Again, we're live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Watch along. You can see Kev Nash's bottom 5 list right there. 32, the Jets. 31, the Giants. The 30th team in the NFL, according to Kev Nash, the Washington football team. The Atlanta Falcons come in at number 29 on Kev's list, and number 28, the Detroit Lions. All right, Kev Nash, you gave us the bums. I can't think of a funny counter to that. The opposite. I got nothing. Your top 5 in the NFL. Here's your list.
New to the top 5, the Buffalo Bills. The way that Josh Allen just throwing the ball, Stephon Diggs, the number 1 wide receiver for them, the way they're running the ball with Singletary, and their defense is still there. So they're new to the top 5. Number 4, the Ravens. I still got faith in Lamar Jackson. Yes, they hit a roadblock against Kansas City, but so many other teams hit that roadblock against Kansas City. So they're still in my top 5. Currently, number 3, Seattle Seahawks. Their defense is still struggling. Jamal Adams is out, but they still got my guy, Russell Wilson, leading the show, hitting DK Metcalf for bombs. They just look so good offensively, man. They are letting Russ cook. Number 2, the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, like we talked about yesterday, is he playing this way because he's mad? I mean, you're a little close to that situation. You know more about that situation than I do, but could it possibly be he's just playing as well because he's pissed off?
He's 17-3 with Matt LaFleur as his head coach, and you look at his former head coach. Look at his former head coach and where he is now, and look at where Aaron Rodgers is. We've talked about that. That's what people are keeping an eye on when it comes to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Who's going to do better in the split? Tom Brady. The reason that the only team that has been able to form any kind of dynasty the last 2 decades is because you have one of the best quarterbacks of all time and one of the best head coaches of all time. The Patriots are still rolling with Bill Belichick, and the Buccaneers are better because of Tom Brady, but it's not the same case. McCarthy looks like he has no idea what's going on in Dallas, and then you have Aaron Rodgers, who's playing better now towards the back end of his career than what he was towards the tail end of his run with McCarthy. I think that's interesting.
It's amazing, man. And the number 1 team in the league, the champs. Period. The champs. Patrick Mahomes, not Patty Mahomes, not Pat Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, and that offense, so many weapons. And that defense is starting to come around, causing turnovers. I know a lot of people think turnovers are like a lucky element. I don't believe that. There's a reason why certain teams always lead the league in turnovers, man. So I like the Chiefs. I like their defense now too, man. So it's going to be tough, whoever faces them in the playoffs, to knock them out.
You got Ron all upset. Ron says the Bucs, they're only improving every week. Don't ever count out the GOAT. Well, the GOAT plays on Kansas City, and that's the team that he has number one right now. You know, it's funny though. Not a lot of people like the Bucs. Probably makes sense. They're the best. They're the most well balanced team in the NFL.
But it's 4 teams in my top 5 that are undefeated though.
Yeah, and see, like, wins matter, yes, but I think like right now, like the Patriots, I give them, they're 2-2, and we're talking about them like, Bill Belichick has them undefeated at this point. All right, one more time, Kev Nash's top 5: the Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, Ravens, and the undefeated Buffalo Bills. All right, we have ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz coming up here in 5 minutes. We'll get to him. We'll talk about some of the top headlines of the NFL. My bottom 5, my worst teams, my top 5 worst teams in the NFL. The Bengals are off the list. I took them out of the list. If I could fit 27 on here, they're number 27, but they are off the list. They didn't get better this past week. They just finally played a team that didn't have a pass rush.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
All right. The Jets at number 32, the Giants at number 31, and Washington at number 30. Our list is the exact same pretty much. I have the Falcons at number 29. I'm interested in the Falcons. I'm actually rooting for the Falcons to be worse than the Jets and Giants. I want Justin Fields in Atlanta. Woo! Georgia. Come on. So I want Justin Fields to be drafted to the Falcons. I want Justin Fields to be able to throw the ball to Julio Jones. I want him to have Todd Gurley. There's talent there.
For sure.
Look at Joe Burrow. When you have weapons coming into the league, it's a lot easier to be who you are. When you go to teams that don't have talent, you look like Sam Darnold. And I don't think that's all on Sam Darnold's. I don't think that's all his fault. Number 28, I have the Houston Texans. I would probably take them. There's some other teams. I mean, the Dolphins could be there. There's a lot of teams that could literally sit there at number 28. But how about this for all you Dolphins fans out there? The Dolphins get the Texans pick. So the Dolphins could have, remember when the Browns had the number 1 pick and the number 4 pick a few years ago when they got Baker and Denzel Ward?
And that is why he got fired.
And yeah. But the Dolphins, after getting Tua Tagovailoa last year, they could end up with 2 of the top 6 picks in this upcoming draft. And they have their quarterback.
Offensive tackle from Oregon, probably some game record on defense.
Get that wide receiver. They'll get that wide receiver from Alabama. They'll get that wide receiver from Alabama. That's who
Waddle,
yes.
Or Devin Smith, whichever one.
That could be key.
Whatever one they want.
Tua would then have
both
the weapons. And my top 5, again, I cheated here, but the Chiefs, the Packers, the Seahawks, 1, 2, and 3. I need to take the Seahawks out of the top 3. That defense is bad. The only reason I still have him there is because historically this is the worst collective defensive unit across the NFL. Not the Seahawks, the entire NFL landscape. This is the worst that the NFL defenses have ever been 4 games into the season. So that's why I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. The Ravens come in at number 4. And then at number 5, I put Patriots/Steelers/ Buccaneers. And I need to do /Bills. I cheated and I don't even care. It's tough. The line between all these teams is not very big. I mean, it's very tight. And if the Browns win this week, I'm not putting them in my top 5, but I will officially
give them a slash.
I'll give them a slash. Yes, the Browns will officially get that slash as far as that's concerned. If they're 4-1, if they go and beat the number 1 defense in the NFL, yes, I will officially put the Browns in that conversation. They're top 10. They are top 10, in my opinion.
For sure.
All right, that is our top 5, bottom 5. When we come back, we will be joined by ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. We'll talk about your Browns. We'll talk about your Bengals. Top headlines out of Week 4 of the NFL, as well as what to expect coming up in Week 5. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be clear, sunny, and windy with a high near 72. Tonight will also be clear with a low around 52. And tomorrow is going to be clear, sunny, and very windy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of Not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks Vapor Cool Drops are and yeah, Honey Lemon Chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks Vapor Cool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
911, what's your emergency?
This car, an SUV, it was going across, it went around the barrier and the train. Oh, God.
Ma'am, did a train hit an SUV? Is that what happened?
Yes, the train is still going. The train is going and the car, I can't believe it.
You can't judge the speed of an approaching train. That's why the signals are there. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like, that might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer's suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McOil Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, we do too. And that's why you can find us in big cities, small towns, and everywhere in between, doing what we've always done to help keep our local communities moving forward. So whether you stop by a Napa Auto Parts store, Auto Care Center, or visit us at Napa Online, you can count on Napa know-how.
How can Staples help you get back to business?
By printing you new signs for the times.
Staples can help prepare your business for the new normal with everything from in-store signage to health essentials like masks and hand sanitizer, and all at amazing prices.
And this week at Staples, get $15 off posters or yard signs when you spend $75 or more.
Save big this week at Staples.
Ends 10/31. Exclusions apply. Limit 1 offer per customer. See store associate or visit staples.com/signage for details.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save for driving safely. Save for driving less with pay-per-mile insurance. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. Savings based on early signing, discount drive-bys, and mile-wise. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Smoothbrook, Illinois.
Police officers know it only takes a few seconds of someone texting and driving for things to go terribly wrong. That's why officers are increasing enforcement of texting and driving laws. So put your phone down when driving, or be prepared for the consequences. You drive, you text, you pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Cordell Transportation is hiring Class A CDL drivers 23 and over, less than 6 points on their license, for no-touch freight home daily lanes, outstanding new equipment. Earn up to $270 per day, $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, and paid life insurance. Apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Try Bob Evans' new crispy fried chicken dinner bell plate. It's boneless, hand-breaded fresh, and oh so juicy. Try it for just $7.99.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. What a week 4 it was in the National Football League. It's not often around here where we get to talk about the Browns and the Bengals coming out of the same weekend with a couple W's. And that's exactly what happened. The Browns 3-1, their hottest start in 19 years. The Cincinnati Bengals, after starting the season 0-2-1, now 1-2-1. And it's amazing what Joe Burrow can do when you give him a little time to throw. So there you go. All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. Excited to bring in our next guest. Every Tuesday we get to hang out with ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, and he's on with us now live. Jason, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you guys? It's a big victory week up there. Dayton, Ohio should be partying like rock stars right now.
Yeah, and, you know, it's a great location to be because you have the Browns a couple hours from here, the Bengals an hour from here, College, Ohio State an hour from here. It's the perfect place. It's a good centrally located spot for all sports fans, I tell you.
Well, and now that you got some wins, I mean, I feel like we sort of set the bar for this, though. Like, the Bengals must have been listening to us because what did we say last week? That they needed to get some more balance to get Mixon involved, and what do you know? They get Mixon involved, they get a win. I'm just saying, maybe we're on to something. We're taking all the credit.
You know, Bengals fans don't like what I have to say. I don't know if the Bengals actually like what I have to say, but I did feel like we were on to something as far as that's concerned. And, you know, a lot of times, too, they're throwing, you know, a lot because of situational, you know, stuff with being down early in games and whatnot. But, man, I still wish they would have spent more time focusing on that offensive line because it's not often where rookies come into the league and have a lot of weapons to work with. Joe Burrow has a ton of weapons all over the place between his running back, his receivers, but that offensive line is just what's, you know, getting in his way. We saw over the weekend just how good the Bengals could be and just how good he could be with just a little bit of time to throw.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But they also got his numbers down. What did he throw? 35 times, 40 times, under 40, I think.
Yep.
And Mixon carried 25. So, you got Mixon carrying 25 times. That's what they need to do. You got to slow down the rush that's coming at him at some point. So I think that accomplishing a little more balance helps. And you're absolutely right. I still think the organization needs to sit down during the offseason and maybe find somebody else to talk to about offensive linemen, because they're trying. They're just not good at it. So, maybe they can bring in another voice that can help them pick guys. But frankly, this is what you want to see. If you're a Joe Burrow fan, if you're a Bengals fan, you want to see a little more balance where your quarterback can be a little bit more set. And then all of a sudden, what do you know? You beat a Jags team that's feisty, and that counts. You got to get those wins.
Absolutely. And we look at what the Browns did, put up 49 points on the Cowboys. And we hear how terrible the Cowboys defense is. And that may be true, but you got to give credit when credit is due. And I have to give credit where credit is due, because I am the guy on this show who makes fun of OBJ and his drops and his tantrums and everything like that. But he definitely made the most of his opportunities on Sunday with 3 touchdowns. Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge game for him, but also because I feel like we're just all old school football in this conversation. They're running the ball. I know that nobody like running the ball is no longer sexy, but the second best run block win rate in the NFL belongs to the Cleveland Browns, and that's not an accident. So even though they got decimated at that position, didn't matter. They still get enough production there, and obviously, as we all know, when you're getting that level of production, it's going to give you better matchups with your receivers on the outside. They're going to be able to do more. They're going to be able to get more done, and that's, again, the method. It feels like everybody has just presumes that if you think your quarterback's the guy, that means you got to just drop back and heave it up 50 times. And if this Browns offense can find that level of balance week in and week out, they are going to be tough to stop. And that's what Browns fans should worry about. More than worrying about how great Baker is, just worry about getting the wins, which they'll do if they get this sort of balance out of their offense.
Defensively, they interest me because when I watch them, it's cringeworthy. I hate watching them play defense. And but then after the game, you look at, they got run all over the place. But then you look at the stats. They lead the NFL in takeaways. They lead the NFL in points off those turnovers. They're forcing turnovers. They're forcing fumbles. They're active that way. But, man, they get beat up between the 20s.
No, you're 1,000% right, and it feels like they're a boom or bust defense, right? They're going to go so big, it's like a home run hitter in baseball. That's all they are trying to swing for the fences on everything they do. And if they get gouged running the football, it doesn't seem like anybody's even concerned about that. That is sort of funny to me, because we talk so much about gap alignment and run fits and making sure that the defensive line is staying home. I don't feel like that's even an approach for this defensive line, particularly. It feels like they're straight in, all kamikaze, going straight after the quarterback, and they're going to just try and make something happen. So I don't love that approach long term, but it's at least giving us some excitement with it. But I'm with you. There are some holes on this defense that I don't think are going to be easy to take care of this season. They are who they are. With the Houston Texans letting coach and GM Bill O'Brien go, are we a little too early saying Eric Bieniemy is going to be their next head coach? No, they should do a very thorough search, absolutely, and they've got a treasure, and that's what Deshaun Watson is. And a couple of the guys that I trust the most in Bristol have told me repeatedly when they watch the film that Deshaun Watson has the ability to be every good as Patrick Mahomes. When you hold him to that standard, now you're talking about what a treasure he is for any coach that wants to come in and coach. And it's something that Dan Graziano on the Monday Night Football digital show I hosted said. That years ago, somebody told him a coach will ask 2 questions. Who's the owner and who's the quarterback? Well, we know both of those situations for the Texans. So I think it's a very, very desirable job. But I can't see why, given the skill set of Deshaun Watson, why they wouldn't want to bring in somebody like Eric Bieniemy. The only thing is you just, right now more than ever, you got to be careful making sure that you're bringing in somebody capable of taking the next step as a coach if they haven't been a head coach. That would be my only hesitation in the world.
Jason, last week after we got off the phone, I had this very hot take that I thought was going to be a hot take that would get a lot of reaction, but then I actually had people do stuff that I'm not used to, and that's agree with me. One situation that I could see playing out, and again, right now the situation doesn't look like it's presenting itself, but let's say by the end of this season, this could be the 3rd straight season where the Baltimore Ravens dominate in the regular season but don't get it done in the playoffs. And at that point, you have to start looking at Harbaugh and say, man, we appreciate everything you've done, but what do we got to do for this organization to maybe maybe take Lamar and take this team to that next level. We talk about Bieniemy going to the Houstons. One prediction that I have, my hot take for next offseason is that Eric Bieniemy will be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, and it's not because Harbaugh's not a good coach, but it's just because he's been there so long that he's taken them as far as they can go under his system. I think Bieniemy would be a perfect fit in Baltimore, and just think about what that would do for that rivalry between the Ravens and the Chiefs. You have Lamar versus Patrick Mahomes, then you take Bieniemy away from the Chiefs, and then you take Lamar and the Baltimore offense to that next level. That is a real scenario that I could see potentially playing out, and I think there will be more legs to that, especially later in the season if Baltimore's not able to get it done in the playoffs.
Well, hey, I'm stealing that from you. I'd never thought of that. Brilliant.
Yes.
No, I mean, I will say this. I've given Harbaugh a lot of credit for being able to come in and say, hey, I'm going to rebuild this offense around what Lamar Jackson does well. I think that there's some real credit to that, and it's been impressive. But let's not get lost on the fact that he coaches in the same division as Mike Tomlin. And Mike Tomlin, now, I think more than ever, is finally getting the respect he should have gotten for years for managing not only the Steelers' personalities, but think about the version of Mike Tomlin last year, that he got such great production out of a team that was minus so many pieces, including just a hot and garbage quarterback situation. I mean, you start looking in your own division and realizing that you don't have the best coach. If you think you got the best quarterback, and if you think you have the best front office, you think you have the best fans, but you look around and say we don't have the best coach, then that is fair to open the door to change. So I hadn't thought about it, but it actually makes a ton of sense. And if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I would run, not walk. I would run to that opportunity to be over there, because the Ravens are about stability, doing it the right way, and getting things done. That would be a great job for him.
And imagine if Bieniemy does go to the AFC North. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you have to be kicking yourself, because when they were looking for their last head coach, Bieniemy was a name that was being tossed around a lot. And the Bengals went in the direction of Zach Taylor, which I'm not a big fan of. But, I mean, that's going to be killer, too. The Bengals could be in a situation where they're looking back saying, man, we could have had him as our guy earlier. And not only did we miss out on him, now he's possibly going to be in our own division. There's a lot of just different spider web storylines that could come from that I'm keeping an eye on. But either way, Bieniemy, I think it's almost a blessing that he didn't get a job last offseason, because I think there's going to be a lot of very interesting teams available for him. Kev always bring up the Falcons. I mean, that could be a situation with Julio Jones and Matt Ryan and others that could be a good fit.
Oh, I mean, the Falcons would be that is a great job for anybody. And, you know, I've been so stinking wrong on the Falcons. I just thought they were going to be good this year. Like, I thought that they had righted the ship. And so what we're seeing right now is just, it can't last. It's inexcusable. So, you know, that, yes, absolutely. That is another job that I think coaches would fawn over for sure.
With the Buckeyes kicking off in Justin, 18 days, Buckeyes are back. Woo! But we got Texas, Oklahoma this weekend. Obviously, Texas is 2-1. Oklahoma is 1-2, and everybody's talking about Lincoln Riley bailing already. Like, why would he bail now this upcoming season as opposed to last season when that Dallas Cowboys job was on the table?
Yeah, I don't think Lincoln Riley is going anywhere. And I think what happens is, honestly, like, I think, and you guys can speak to this being sort of in the heart of a college football market. I think the problem is so many people in the media in general see college football as at a lower level of the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the way it was for a very long time. And I get that. So there's this perception that a coach wants to get to the NFL so he can succeed at the highest level. Well, what we've now seen is that between the facilities, the money that the coaches are getting, just the pay, the platform, the spectacle of college football, it is not the underside of the NFL. It's its own sort of great sport. And I think we're constantly looking at these big name coaches in college and why they want to go to the NFL. To me, that makes no sense. Like, all you have to do, and I was lucky enough last year to travel with Game Day. And as I went to every different campus across the country, I kept walking around thinking, man, I've been into almost every NFL stadium. College football does it better. And it's okay to admit that, and admit that they're both great sports. But there's an atmosphere around college football that I think coaches love more than we give it credit for. I don't think Lincoln Riley, it doesn't matter how many games he wins or loses. He's got Spencer Rattler. They're not going to ask him to go anywhere, and he's going to be there for a very long time because he wants to develop this kid into his own superstar quarterback, and he's built a legacy there that's going to make him rich and secure for a very long time.
All right, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He hangs out with us every Tuesday. We talk all things football, top headlines out of the NFL, and some college football as well, and especially with Ohio State kicking off in a few weeks, that's definitely going to be the case. You can catch Jason Fitz on Spain and Fitz weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, right after our show, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Jason, I'll send you out with one more hot take because we talked college football earlier. Texas, Tom Herman, Texas, just every year it's their year until week 2 or 3, and then Texas all of a sudden it's back. On. Yeah, Texas is not. I tell you who might be coming back. I my hot take, Urban Meyer to Texas. How high? I mean, is it as good as the Ravens one? I mean, where do you rank that one?
Yeah, no, that's good. And Urban's going to go back somewhere. I believe that. And we laugh about Texas is back, but we did it last year on game day when we were down there. Texas was undefeated at the time. We were like, oh, yeah, Texas is back. And then they just imploded in front of our eyes. And the fact is, Texas, the results that Tom Herman are getting are not good enough for the amount of money that it comes into that, for the facilities that they have, for who Texas should be, because they have all of the structural things you need to be a great college football program. They're a pretty good college football program. And that's not good enough for Texas fans. That's not good enough for alumni. So I think that Tom Herman's going to be shown the door if they don't take a massive step. And I love the idea. Like, Urban's going to, if he goes down there, he'll get paid ridiculous grotesque money, and he will be the rock star he always is wherever he ends up.
All right, good stuff. Jason Fitz. Jason, thank you so much. Give him a follow on Twitter at Jason Fitz. 1T, not 2. I've made that mistake a few times. Just 1T, Jason Fitz. Thank you so much, Jason. Much appreciated.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the hot take tips. I'm going to write them down and steal them all from you.
That's what we're here for. Thanks so much, man. Take care.
Later, man.
All right, good stuff there. Jason Fitz hangs out with us every Tuesday at 4:30 to talk all things college football, NFL, and more. And we'll pick up that college football talk with him more in the coming weeks, especially with Ohio State kicking off their season, and that's coming up just around the corner. Hey, so with us not getting stimulus checks for a while, I have another opportunity for you to have a chance to get $1,000. It's not the $1,200, but I mean it's $1,000. We are giving away $1,000 a day, and all you have to do is take the winning keyword that we provide you each hour and enter it at wingam.com. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash contest. So your winning word here for the 4 o'clock hour, head to wingam.com and enter the winning word SPICE, SPICE, SPICE. Enter the word SPICE at wingam.com. Enter it right now. That's the keyword for the 4 o'clock hour. Head to wingam.com. And, of course, be tuning in every hour. We'll be giving out another keyword. We have the 5 o'clock hour coming up around the corner. Another opportunity for you to win $1,000 right there. More of the Justin Kinner Show when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps for big screen football.
Hi, Joey Beckett here at Buckeye Ford in Sydney, home of the Works Package and the Double Take Tire Specials. Call today for your appointment, 937-419-8473 or 1-800-700-0050. Buckeye Ford in Sydney, exit 92 off of I-75. We'll see you soon.
I'm so sick.
Ooh, honey.
Seriously? I'm sick.
Oh, honey, it's time for DayQuil Severe, honey. It's maximum strength cold and flu medicine with soothing, honeylicious taste.
I love you, honey.
And I love you.
I meant the DayQuil.
New DayQuil Severe Honey. The soothing, honeylicious daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, power through your day medicine. Use as directed.
We save big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and use the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yeah!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
David Brandon will make an excellent probate judge.
Dave has a reputation as somebody who you can trust. David's experience in probate matters is extensive. It isn't just that he knows the law, though. It's that he cares and why that matters.
David was there for me, and I feel like he'll be there for other families as well. He knows the right thing to do.
The guy's one of the hardest working guys I've ever met in my life. Dave Brandon will work hard for the families of Montgomery County.
Vote for me for Montgomery County Probate Court Judge. I'm David Brandon, and I approve this message.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day. I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right and, most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Ohio, wake up to what our lawmakers are up to. Bribery indictment of the former House Speaker, the majority cutting funds for schools and healthcare during the pandemic, huge tax breaks for millionaires while ignoring medical experts, and how COVID-19 impacts our jobs, health, schools, and local businesses. It's time for a change. I will fight for hardworking families. My name is Erin Rosiello, candidate for State House District 62 in Warren County, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Erin Rosiello, at your service.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 special financial relief assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
Buckeye fans, the season is finally here. No, for real this time. ESPN 1410 Wing AM is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Join us for the season opener on Saturday, October 24th, when Ohio State welcomes in Nebraska. Every tackle, every touchdown, and every Buckeyes win. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, head to wingam.com and make sure that you are going back and checking all of our previous aired content, whether it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash podcast in full. You can find that at wingam.com. You can also subscribe and download to the Justin Kinner Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. And, of course, we always put up the full show in its entirety, as well as select segments and all interviews, including our weekly visit with ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz, which you can hear Jason later on tonight from 7 to 9 on Spain and Fitz. And that's coming up here around the corner. But that interview that we just did, that's accessible there. But good stuff there. Of course, we got to talk about the one thing I haven't thought about, too. And, I don't know what the trajectory of this Bengals team is as far as, whether or not they stick with Zach Taylor. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Zach Taylor is a part of the other side?
He won't be.
He won't be.
He won't be.
And that's a problem because I will say this.
Wait.
Name a coach that is that.
It's the Bengals, though. And the Bengals stay loyal. I mean, we can talk about how much Marvin Lewis did for the Bengals and bringing them from the depths of wherever they were at and bringing them back and then making them a playoff team, but they can never get over the hump. He only left because he was tired. He was tired of dealing with it. They were going to let him keep coaching, So I think the smart thing would be once they get to that plateau point again, because they're going to plateau. Every team plateaus. Once they get to that plateau point again, let them go and hire somebody that can get them over the hump. Learn from the mistake that you did with Marvin Lewis. Marvin Lewis got them to, matter of fact, Marvin Lewis got them back twice. He took them from the depths, brought them to a respectable level in the playoffs with Carson Palmer. They dipped again and then brought them back with Andy Dalton. So, but they never could get over that hump. They hit that hump twice. So, judging from their track record, that's what they do. But I think they should learn from that mistake that they did with Marvin Lewis. Like, once they get that hump, you got to get a new guy in there, a new voice.
And I'm fighting, keep in mind, the Ravens were in this situation a few years ago with Harbaugh. Harbaugh had already announced that he was leaving, and then all of a sudden they made a quarterback change and everything just shifted. The problem is there's not a change like that presents itself, in my opinion, to save Zach Taylor's job. And look, I'm not comparing Zach Taylor to Harbaugh by any means. Harbaugh has won games, won division titles, won a Super Bowl. Harbaugh did his job in Baltimore, still there as far as that's concerned. Zach Taylor, though, right now, 3 wins, 16 losses, and a tie. That's the resume so far. My concern is that with Eric Bieniemy being such a hot target out there, they were rumored to be in pursuit of him the last time they were in search of a head coach. Could they potentially pursue him again coming up? Ooh. And if they don't land him, I think the Bengals are going to look very foolish because they had a chance to have him be their guy 2 years ago. Instead, they end up with Zach Taylor. They could move on from Zach Taylor, and Eric Bieniemy can go on to coach Deshaun Watson or Matt Ryan with Julio Jones. Even though I think the interesting scenario that presents itself for Eric Bieniemy is right now the Falcons are well on their way to being a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
Right.
They could find themselves especially where the Dolphins come into play here. The Dolphins could have 2 of the top 6 picks because they're going to be one of the worst teams as well as have the pick of the Texans. So the Dolphins have their quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. So if they end up owning 2 of the top 6 picks and the Falcons are right there and the Jets technically have Sam Darnold, they may not move on from Sam Darnold. The Falcons could be a very interesting place because the Falcons could find themselves in a situation where you can get a Justin Fields who's from that area. You have Julio Jones. You have Todd Gurley. You have an experienced offensive line. There's a new breath of fresh air there. I really do like the Falcons situation that could potentially present itself for Eric Bieniemy, which I didn't like the idea. I don't know if Eric Bieniemy looks at Atlanta and says, oh, that's where I want to go if Matt Ryan's the quarterback. Like, I feel like this core has ran its course. Like, it's dry, it's stale, and I feel like the Julio Jones is being wasted. I would love to see a situation where that could come into play. But my point is if the Bengals missed out on that and Bieniemy goes in and just totally turns the franchise around and they hit the ground running like what's expected, that's going to be an even worse look, especially when you have a Joe Burrow and you're in a situation where you could end up, having one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, still looking for an offensive mind to run that group. I don't know who would be a good fit for Cincinnati after this year as far as what's available out there. But Bieniemy could look at Cincinnati and say, I like Joe Burrow. If I had to pick between Joe Burrow and Matt Ryan, I like the trajectory of Joe Burrow before going to a former MVP quarterback in Matt Ryan.
I was about to ask you that if you're Eric Bieniemy and you had these 3 offers on the table from Houston, Atlanta, and Cincinnati, where would you go?
I guess if you're looking at quarterbacks, I mean, for Eric Bieniemy, you're being brought in because of what is expected of you to do with the quarterback. The worst quarterback situation there's Atlanta, unless they have a top 5 pick and they look like they could be in position to potentially get Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, even though Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall, maybe depending on who has that pick. If the Jets have it, I'm not convinced that they move on from Sam Darnold. They have a lot of needs, and if you draft, I'm not convinced that if you take Trevor Lawrence that the Jets are better. I don't know how good or bad Sam Darnold is, but the Jets are bad from top to bottom organizationally. So, again, if they move on from Sam Darnold, I don't know how much better they are by going to Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence will still have the same surroundings that Sam Darnold did. And Sam Darnold was the hottest quarterback coming out of college that year. That's why so many people were surprised that the Browns chose to take Baker Mayfield. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. When we come back, we'll get to Lamar Shelley and Ron Moreland's comment on Facebook. Tyler Schrody. We'll get to all that coming up. My dad chimed in right there. We'll get to his comment. A lot of people Ron Howard, Herm Edwards ain't going back to the NFL. Hello. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Mike Foley is proud to serve as our Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, and he's asking for our vote again this November. Mike is a father, a U.S. veteran, and has been a small business owner for over 20 years. He's not a career politician, but a leader that gets things done. Mike Foley has saved taxpayers over $3 million in less than 2 years in office by running the clerk's office more efficiently. He truly brings the courthouse to the community. For all the right reasons, let's re-elect Mike Foley, Montgomery County Clerk of Courts.
This is Mike Foley, and I approve this message.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield, and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield, and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Fall is all about feel-good food and family. This fall, get a home-style meal on the go that everyone will love. Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for a 12-piece spicy bonus box for only $23.99. Home-style can happen anywhere with 12 mixed pieces of Lee's Spicy Classic Chicken, a large mashed potatoes and gravy, and a large coleslaw, all at a great price. Get a home-style meal made easy with our 12-piece spicy bonus box for only $23.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Audible now gives you thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all in one place. The new Audible is your playlist for life. Download the Audible app to get started.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Be listening every hour for the word that wins and enter it at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. We'll have another winning word opportunity, another chance for you to win $1,000 coming up here around the corner about 20 minutes from now. We'll give you another keyword that you can enter at wingam.com. It's the ESPN hashtag. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Give it away $1,000 a day. So the Cincinnati Bengals, a week after picking up, or I should say, coming off of their very first win of the season this past weekend, 1-2-1 their record. They're right now active on the free agent market again. And when I read this, I'm like, oh, good. They're looking to go get some offensive linemen to protect Joe Burrow. That's not really the case. They are addressing another need of theirs, which is, well, the defensive side. Free agent defensive tackle Damon Snacks Harrison is visiting the Seahawks on Tuesday, according to Josina Anderson. His visit with the Seahawks was scheduled last month. He went through COVID-19 protocol before meeting with the team in person. He is also scheduled to, he's also scheduled to visit with the Packers on Wednesday. Both teams could use help definitely in the trenches as far as those two teams are concerned. The Bengals have expressed interest in him even prior to the injury. He's considered the top 5 defensive tackle on the market right now. Now, they haven't had Geno Atkins. That's going to be a big plus whenever they get him back. So if they're able to get that, but again, I've said that it's tough to be able to address every hole that you have, especially when you spent so much money in the offseason. I mean, that's pretty much, you implemented that as how you were trying to target the needs of this team. The only concern I have as far as that team's concerned is they continue. I mean, look, they had one good game against the Jaguars as far as protection up front's concerned, but there was no Ngakoue. There was no pass rush from the Jaguars. I hope that they're not putting all their eggs in the basket of the guys that they have right now, because we've seen these guys for too long to know. I'm surprised that they're not being more active on the offensive line front. Do you think that they try to make a move by the deadline as far as that's concerned, whether it's John Ross, whether it's AJ Green, package them, do something? But you got, even if it's not a long-term offensive lineman that you get, you still got to think long-term in regards to, well, I would like to have my quarterback be able to play long-term, because people are acting like, oh, the problems of the offensive line they've just disappeared because for 1 week they only held him to 1 sack. That's not going to be the case moving forward with some of the teams on the schedule.
I hear so many people talking about trading AJ and Ross and everything like that. Who wants them, though?
I agree with you, too. That's why I asked you about OBJ yesterday with the Browns, because I said, hey, now is when you do trade him. I know that sounds crazy because the Browns just had their best offensive performance in decades, and everyone's like, why would you bring up trading OBJ after it's because now he's a hot commodity.
Right.
Now the Browns, you might lessen your offensive attack. You're still going to have the balance and still be able to go and use OBJ as a trade chip to maybe get a safety, to be able to get some help in the secondary, to get into the linebacker, what you got to do. So that's why I brought that up. But to your point, I asked that about OBJ because he finally had that breakout weekend where his stock, obviously is now high. AJ Green doesn't have that.
Right.
And I do believe that if AJ Green has a big week coming up, if he has a breakout game, I wouldn't be excited for, oh man, we got AJ Green back. It's okay, good. Now he has some value. We can getting the hell out of here. Like, I really hope that's the Bengals' approach with AJ Green. The second that he even looks like he's the AJ Green of old and not old AJ Green, I'll look to dangle him out there and see what they can get for him. Don't be fooled by one good game if AJ Green has one coming up. I think that they need to take advantage of that and say, hey, look, he still has a little pop in his step. Let's see what can happen. By the way, Sanu was released. I mean, Sanu's been, passed around a little bit. I thought that was interesting as well. But you know what I mean about AJ Green? Like, you got to hope that he has a little breakout game coming up, not because, oh, good, he can help them the rest of the year. The Bengals aren't going anywhere. So you desperately need something in return. And if you could trade AJ Green to a team that's in desperate need of wide receiver help right now, whether it is the Saints, what's the future Michael Thomas look like anyways right now?
Man, you know what? I didn't watch any of that game, so I don't.
He didn't play, so that's why I don't know. Okay. I don't know what's going on as far as when he can return. The Patriots always make a ton of sense as far as that goes. Putting AJ Green with the Cam Newton over there. All I'm saying is that the Bengals desperately need to, like, everyone's like, oh, they don't need AJ Green. AJ Green had one target or one reception this past weekend. They don't need him. You need him to have a breakout game so that you can get something in return. That's all I'm trying to say as far as that's concerned.
He's in his 9th year. He's 32 years old. I would like to see him, like you said, get to his old form for both sakes. Like, saying he's a great player, and, if the Bengals can get something for him, because I don't see them giving him the extension that he wants. So he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. So do you let him just walk? Do you try to trade him? But you got to have a trade partner. And are there trade partners going to be willing to give up somebody that's going to be a younger player? Why would they diminish their team to help your team? Like, it always goes like that. I don't see, if they are able to trade him, I don't see him being able to be traded for a piece. I see him being traded for a draft pick. And at the age of 32 years old, in your 9th year in the league, you're not getting anything better than a 5th, 6th round pick.
I don't think it's what he's worth. It's all about what the value is of him at that moment for teams who are desperate. The Patriots last night felt that if they had Cam Newton, that they were capable of beating the Chiefs. The Patriots now might be shifting gears and saying, you know what? We are a little bit more desperate than we anticipated being. We actually are way better than we thought we were going to be. And last night showed that, hey, you had Cam Newton and just a stable offensive attack. Maybe you get an AJ Green. All of a sudden, you're talking a little bit something. The Patriots could still be the Patriots. They might even be a little bit better than last year just because Cam Newton has elevated the quarterback play right there, at least what they could do with that playbook as far as that's concerned. Also, keep in mind, Bengals fans, the amount of fans allowed at home games moving forward, now 12,000. So you win games and you double attendance. You see what happens. You see how that works. But yeah, they expect 12,000 fans. I guess Mo Egger from 15th, in Cincinnati, ESPN in Cincinnati, he went to the game, and I was following along what his experience was like on Twitter, and he even said, hey, the Bengals did a great job with 6,000 fans this past week, and that looking forward, that 12,000, they'll be able to kind of do that. It was smooth as far as the process is concerned. I'm curious if any of our listeners, did you go to the Cincinnati Bengals game? Are you going to? I mean, it's only 6,000 fans previously. It's 12,000 now moving forward. But I thought that was interesting that they're increasing attendance across the board. On the flip side, the Packers, they have now announced that no fans will be in the stands indefinitely.
Get out.
Urge everyone to wear a mask as, again, the COVID-19 situation is now worsening in Wisconsin.
And their football team is playing good. Stay away. We're trying to do some things.
Well, look, the fans, I think, have nothing to do. I mean, the fans have nothing to do with the teams getting. You ain't doing the Lambeau leap, right? So unless you're doing, who cares? I don't care if it's sold out. That ain't impacting the fans unless they're spitting out on the field or something stupid.
Spilling beer on each other.
Just don't do the Lambeau leap and you'll be fine, as far as I'm concerned, whenever it comes to that. All right, NBA Finals tonight, this day in sports history. It's a big day in sports history, and it ties into the Lakers game later on tonight. We'll discuss when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Do you know what it is? Because you're looking at me. Yeah,
of course I know what it is.
Well, we're going to quit right here, and we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Ha!
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be clear, sunny, and windy with a high near 72. Tonight will also be clear with a low around 52. And tomorrow is going to be clear, sunny, and very windy with a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts takes the stress out of maintaining your home comfort system. Pay no money down, one low monthly rate, and nothing for maintenance and repairs. The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts. Learn more at 866-EXPERTS or StevensonHVAC.com. See website for license details.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of honey lemon. Not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks VapoCool Drops are honey lemon and honey lemon. Honey lemon. Yeah, honey lemon chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
911, what's your emergency?
This car, an SUV, it was going across, it went around the barrier and the train.
Ma'am, did a train hit an SUV? Is that what happened?
Yes, the train is still going. The train is going and the car, I can't believe it.
You can't judge the speed of an approaching train. That's why the signals are there. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys. We're at Windy Knoll Golf Club today in Springfield, Ohio. This totally unique course is Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course, and it's open to the public. I'm standing on the tee at the 12th hole. This is a par 5 and the number 4 handicap hole, and I can see why. There's trees, gullies, creeks, and traps everywhere. I forced myself to swing easy off the tee, and I'm rewarded with a decent lie in the fairway. I hit my 4-iron and hook into the woods on the left. After punching out, I lay 3. There's a small trap on the left in front of the green, and I find it. I get lucky out of the trap, and I land about 20 feet from the hole and 2-putt in for a double bogey. Tough hole. You and your pals are in for a great test of your game when you play this link-style course. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences. See you at the next hole. Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Windy Knoll and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like, that might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best, really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets, $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McOil Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Call It Propane has been serving the Buckeye Nation in the Miami Valley for over 65 years.
Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Ask about the service options at 937-372-9194.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Call It Propane and Call It Seal Coating are proud to serve the Buckeye Nation.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Don't let your dental benefits go to waste. Most insurance benefits roll over in January, and what you don't use, you lose. Now is the time to make an appointment to maximize your insurance. Give Champagne Dental Group in Urbana a call at 937-653-8650 to get scheduled today, or visit online at champagnedentalgroup.org.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Wake up, Ohio, to what's going on in Columbus. The former House Speaker indicted for bribery. The majority ignoring medical experts and how COVID-19 impacts our jobs, health, schools, and local businesses. Giving huge tax breaks for millionaires and corporations. We can do better, and I'm a problem solver committed to fighting for hardworking families. My name is Erin Rosiello, candidate for Ohio House District 62, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Erin Rosiello, at your service.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now apply 2 pounds of force for acceleration.
You really
turning in 0.3 miles and begin deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies.
Third floor study hall. My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything your student needs. This week, get 20% off copies and prints for school. That's 20% off posters, worksheets, schedules, and reports. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon. In-store only. Exclusions apply. Ends 10/31. Curbside available in most stores.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
Whether it's betting on the big game, catching up on bills, or saving up for the holidays, we could all use a little extra cash this time of year. Hey, how does $1,000 sound? It's the ESPN Dayton #We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Listen for the word that wins every hour, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the word at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday. We'll open up the phone lines at 457-9464. I noticed this floating around social media today. Today is #National Coaches Day, and a lot of people kind of thanking some of their former great coaches from throughout their lifetime. Again, who was the most influential coach that you had growing up? Any sport, any level? Who was it?
My middle school football coach, Coach Burton. He was cool. He was the cool guy in school. Like, he was younger. He was like, he was also our phys ed teacher. And he was at my middle school, Monticello Middle School, my 8th grade year. And he became the football coach. And I was playing football and everything like that, really not getting any playing time. I was playing wide receiver. And I remember Randy Jefferson, my dude Randy, he got hurt in practice. And he was looking around like, you can throw the ball, right? I was like, a little bit. He's like, let me see you throw it. I threw it. Good enough. You're starting on Friday. So, like, I started at quarterback for my middle school team. Like, my first and only start at quarterback in my middle school days. I actually threw a touchdown, and I also ran for a touchdown.
A little,
yes.
A little Cleveland Browns action, a little flea flicker, a little reverse pass.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry action.
Not bad. And to be fair, on the play where it was a screen pass that I threw for a touchdown, and on the running touchdown I totally forgot the play. It was supposed to be like a quick pitch, and I turned the wrong way, and I just ran.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So we are live on Facebook. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash live on Facebook. Go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, watch, and the comment section is open too. With it being again National Coaches Day, leave your favorite coach growing up. Who was that coach that was most influential to you growing up? Leave it in the chat or in the comment section, and we'll reveal those. We'll give those coaches a little shout out. Or if you want to give your coach a shout out, we'll open up the phone lines at 457-9464. For me growing up, my high school basketball coach, there's actually two high school basketball coaches. They're a package basically. Dave Freilich, he was the head coach at Van Wertz for a long time, and he was my head basketball coach. But I did everything I could to impress him. him. I wanted to make the team so bad. I literally worked my tail off. His approval was everything to me for whatever reason. I just wanted to so bad to work. Everything he said that we needed to work on, it really wasn't directed at me. It was to the actual kids that could play. But I felt like he was, but no, I loved playing for him. And I took things from that really weren't about basketball. It's how I, got through college. It's how I do this job. It's just, for one, I have thick skin because of him. Tell you that much. And that's not a shot at him. I'm telling you right now. I would not want to play sports today where the coach is just friendly and telling you how awesome you are all the time, because I don't feel like you're getting better. Right. I feel like everyone became not just a better athlete, but became a better person at life, because he said, hey, you're not going to half-ass anything. And if you're going to do something, you're going to do it right. Otherwise, you're not going to be a part of this team. And that was to the worst person on the team, me, and all the way up to the best person on the team, whoever that would be. So Dave Freilich, and then Mark Bagley, who took over for him afterwards in Van Wert. He was a guy I stayed in touch with regularly throughout college and throughout this. His passion, what I took from him was his passion for the game. Because if I do things and I'm passionate about it, you could just tell. I mean, I'm passionate about this. It's all I talk about. It's all I do. It's constantly, and I got that from him. Just that passion, that drive. When we were younger, we'd maybe poke fun at him a little bit and say, okay, calm down. You're a little bit too amped up and fired up. I shared the story one time we were playing a team, and we were pretty good. We were ranked in the state this year, and we were kind of half-assing it, in the first half. And he comes into the locker room fired up, and he's trying to get us fired up. And he goes to kick a milk crate that had the water in there. And when he kicked the milk crate, the water shot in the eye. So as he's screaming at us, all of a sudden he has water in his eye, and he's having to stop screaming at us so he can hold his eye. But those things. But no, he was an awesome coach. I loved him. I loved Dave Freilich. Those are my two favorite coaches growing up, because it wasn't just about sports. It was about off the court too. That's what I loved. And then if I had to add another one, Mark Ashman, former Dayton Flyer. I played basketball for him at the Lake campus. Nice. And he was just, my favorite Ashman stories were not just, the way he would draw up plays. Basketball is just so simple to him. It just came to him so just naturally. But on long bus rides, we would drive all over 4, 5, 6 hours. We'd have long bus rides everywhere for our games. We drive, as simple as here to play Sinclair or Edison or whoever. But we'd go on these long buses. We'd go play in Pittsburgh. We'd go play all over. And he would, just listening to him share stories about playing at UD. Nice. My favorite stories from him were the Bob Huggins stories. I could literally, he doesn't talk a lot. He's very quiet. But man, when he would get opening up about his about his high school days, his college days at UD, his time, he tried out for a couple NBA teams, his playing pro ball overseas. Mark Ashman too. A lot of great respect for him. One of my favorite people. Nice. So there you go. But again, one more time, if you're just tuning in, it's the Justin Kinner Show. Kev and I both shared coaches that meant a lot to us. It's hashtag National Coaches Day, and everyone on social media, all the college pro athletes are sharing their memories of their favorite coaches, kind of in honor of them. So that's what we're doing. I want to hear from you. 457-9464. Or on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, where you can watch it live. You can leave your stories in the comment section, which we're going to get to now. Jason Campo on Facebook says that my high school cross country and track coach, Hall of Famer George Gins, back in Galleon. So that's a coach to him that, of course, was very influential to him. Again, any stories you guys want to add to that, you're more than welcome to as well. But yeah, I'm getting one in. This is from Nick. Nick says that his football coach meant a ton to him for the same reasons we talked about. It wasn't just about on the field stuff. It was about off the field, guys that you still talk to and communicate with regularly. That's how I am too with those guys. I don't, we talk regularly, and it's half the time never about sports in general. It's just catching up and about how you're doing and those types of things. So we're getting more coming in. We'll continue to read your responses. Give your favorite coach growing up was who and why. Why were they so influential on your life, whether it was just sports related or off the court or off the field as well? We'll take those responses when we come back. Plus, LeBron should be wrapping up his 4th NBA title tonight. The Heat extended the series with the win 2 nights ago. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. LeBron 2 games away from punching his 4th NBA championship of his career. So we'll get to that coming up around the corner. Plus, today in sports history, I have that coming up for you around the corner as well. Quit looking at me that way.
Winning.
Quitting. They rhyme.
In a row.
He quit. Andrew Luck. He quit. He's like Andrew Luck.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Well, Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys. Me and the guys are in Greenville, Ohio today playing beautiful Turtle Creek Golf Club. This course was recently rated the 4th best public golf course in the state of Ohio. We're on the first tee and you can see how well this course is maintained. Hole number 1 is a long par 5 with water on the right, off the tee and in front of the green. There are lots of trees, both left and right. I got lucky and my tee shot went down the middle for a change, avoiding the trees. My second shot stayed low and didn't go very far, but I have a straight shot to the green. I play short of the green to avoid the water. Next shot up and on, but well below the hole. I 2-putt in for my bogey. Not a bad way at all to start the day. You should get your pals together, book a tee time, and come out and play Turtle Creek. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Turtle Creek and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle is your local authorized dealer for the Hustler mower family. Stop in today and take a look at the new Hustler Super Z Hyperdrive, ready to take on the big jobs. The Super Z Hyperdrive features Hustler's exclusive Hyperdrive transmission system, the largest, most durable drive system in the industry, and it's backed by a 3,000-hour drive system warranty. Hustler, tools, not toys. Visit Small Engine Service Pros at 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right, and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Looking for fall flavor that really brings the heat? Enjoy a home-style meal with a kick at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, thanks to our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $6.49. Dip into your spicy side with a big helping of our Spicy Jumbo Dippers, an individual side, a fluffy biscuit, and a regular drink, all at a great price. It's the easy way to fire up your taste buds. Get a home-style meal made easy with our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $6.49. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Mike Foley is proud to serve you as our Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, and he's asking for your vote again this November. Mike is a father, an Army veteran, and has been a small business owner for over 20 years. He's not a career politician, but a leader that gets things done. Mike Foley has saved taxpayers over $3 million in less than 2 years in office by running the clerk's office more efficiently. He truly brings the courthouse to the community. For all the right reasons, let's re-elect Mike Foley, Montgomery County Clerk of Courts.
This is Mike Foley, and I approve this message.
This is time that matters, a window of time to help protect the ones you love. Your preteen benefits from staying up to date with their well visits. This is your window of protection. Schedule their well visit now. Brought to you by Merck.
It's crunchy!
Creamy!
Sweet.
Salty.
Nature Valley sweet and salty peanut bars, bursting with crunchy peanuts, dipped in creamy nut butter coating.
Delicious.
Nature Valley.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything your student needs at amazing prices, from notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to project boards.
This week, Staples #2 pencils, marbleized comp books, 2-pocket poly folders, and 24-pack Crayola crayons are only 50 cents each.
Shop in-store, pick up curbside, or order online.
School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 10/10 while supplies last. Limits vary online and in-store. Curbside available in most stores.
Pros, make Lowe's your first stop for flooring. See the latest in tile, vinyl, laminate, and hardwood. They have the quantities you expect and at bulk pricing. Shop in-store or online at lowesforpros.com.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now. Incredible! Good luck. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
It was on this very day back in 1993, October 6, 1993, that, well, the second best NBA player of all time retired from the Chicago Bulls, or quit. Because as the documentary stated, he couldn't leave his apartment or hotel. Not his apartment. He couldn't leave his hotel. He couldn't go out in public. The media. It was too much, and he needed a bit of a breather. He stepped away. His words, not mine. He quit. Couldn't handle it. Media, social media, actual media, all the fans, everybody. They're just as big now as back then. 17 straight years. 17 straight seasons. No quitting in sight. Just saying. The real GOAT, LeBron James, game 4 tonight, 2 games away from winning his 4th NBA championship. And I saw that the odds for next NBA season, the Lakers already the favorite to win it next year as well, which means nothing technically, but I do find it interesting that the Lakers did find a way to at least piece things back together to put LeBron in this position, or LeBron put them in this position to be able to move forward and give himself a shot to compete for rings towards the tail end of his career. This is a lot better situation than Kobe was in the back end of his career, where that just, made it easy for the goodbye tour, knowing that they weren't playing for anything. I think the best thing about Kobe's final season was the fact that they weren't a good team and that they weren't a playoff team, because it set up the final game. There's nothing worse than your final game being knocked out in the playoffs. It sucks that we didn't get to see him in the playoffs, but you got to literally position the entire goodbye, farewell game for Kobe as goodbye Kobe. You can't really do that in a playoff atmosphere. So I found that interesting nonetheless. But the Heat have Bam tonight. Mm-hmm. Don't know really what that means, but the Heat have Bam, so they have a little bit more reinforcement there. They did extend the series. And NBA, it's funny, we do this in the NFL. Every time a team loses, did the Heat figure them out? No. It's hard to sweep teams in the NBA. You don't sweep teams. The Lakers are winning this. The Heat aren't winning tonight. The Lakers are 7-point favorite. LeBron, he's all pissed off. He's going to come. He got his little mean mugging face on. He's ready to come out. He's ready to go. It is what it is. This finals has sucked. It's been boring. I just wanted to hurry up, get it over with, so I could talk about LeBron's 4th NBA championship and move along my very own little way.
I will agree that this NBA Finals, I haven't been locked in from tip off till the game ends, which really kind of sucks, because the NBA bubble was so entertaining. It really has an anticlimactic feel to it. It feels kind of like the NFL season when you get a bad Super Bowl, like the Rams-Patriots Super Bowl was just horrible to watch. And you want the NBA Finals to be super entertaining and everything like that. I am rooting for 7 games because I just love the NBA that much. I want this to go on as long as possible. I know these guys really want to go home, but selfishly, for my entertainment value, I got highly entertained on Sunday when Jimmy Butler had the game of his career, dropping a 40-piece and dropping assists and rebounds and shot freaking 87% from the field. It was a great game to watch. I had the Lakers in 5 going into it, so the Heat got their one win that I expected them to get. The return of Bam, we'll see what happens with that shoulder. But I think the fact that the Lakers just are a better team, and it just is what it is. But I am rooting for more NBA basketball, and the only way I can get more NBA basketball is if the Heat continue to win.
So this is why, everyone that was pissed at LeBron in the early 2010s when they formed the super team in Miami, they were talking about how that ruined basketball. NBA ratings were super high for those Miami Heat teams. They were super high for the Warriors teams. The Lakers aren't a super team. This is, you take LeBron off this Lakers team, and this team isn't even better than the last Pelicans team that that Anthony Davis played on. So, I heard them talking about that on First Take today. You take LeBron off, and you compare the roster that's there now to the roster that Anthony Davis had when his last year with the Pelicans. They rival one another. Mm-hmm. The Lakers they're not even a playoff team. It's not like they're a playoff team and they just won't make the finals. Like the Raptors without Kawhi Leonard. They were still one of the best teams even without Kawhi Leonard, but you knew they weren't going to win an NBA championship because they didn't have that star player leading the way. A bunch of really good players, star players, but not superstar players. That's the word I was really looking for as far as that's concerned. So for instance, the Miami Heat in the finals. I don't know how to look at them. It's a cool story, but it's not.
You're so dismissive.
It's not. No, but I don't think I look at the ratings. They're horrible.
Well, the ratings in all the sports are bad.
I don't give a sh blah blah blah. This Heat team is not enjoyable to watch from a fan's perspective.
Just a week ago, you were talking about how fun they were when they were playing against the Celtics.
It was good. I said they were good games, but it wasn't leading to ratings or anything. For me, a basketball fan, it's okay, but it's not drawing people in. My point is that there are rumors circulating right now about a potential landing spot for Paul George that I would think could lead to an NBA Finals that would literally be one of the most watched finals in this last 10 years, and that includes those Warriors-Cavs series in the early part. It includes the Heat, in the finals in the early going. Paul George to the Nets is picking up some steam as far as, right now, with depending on who takes over as the head coach for the Clippers, Paul George could potentially force his way out and end up with the Nets. And by the way, I would want nothing to do with Paul George. Paul George forced his way out of Indiana. Then he behind the scenes, quietly forced himself out of, the Thunder. And now here we are a year later, and he's doing it again with the Clippers. And it's like, Paul George, who are you? Because you want the star treatment, you want the lights and the glamour, you want all the attention on you, you want to be paid like one, but yet you can't seem to find a spot that you can help lead a team to a championship. I would like to see him stay with the Clippers for one more year because I don't think that they got the full start to finish.
Right.
The Clippers were one of the best teams in the NBA. They looked the part when things were normal before COVID hit. And then, of course, the bubble, they never looked the same after that. But if he goes to the Nets and you have Kyrie Irving and Paul George and Kevin Durant, you have three guys who are three of the mentally softest guys in the league. And I'm not being mean by that. That's the truth. You had a guy in Kevin Durant that created fake Twitter accounts just to monitor and argue with fans who didn't like him. That's soft. That's weak. There's that. Then there's Kyrie Irving. I don't even care what shape he thinks the earth is. This is all about the fact that he comes out and says stupid things like, we don't really need a head coach. We'll be the head coaches and all that. He just said every team that he goes to gets worse, and every team that since Cleveland, that is at least, every team he goes to gets worse. Every team he leaves gets better. And then you bring in Paul George, who couldn't get it done with, actually his best run as a player was with the Pacers. I enjoyed watching him with the Pacers. Couldn't get it done there though. Couldn't get it done with the Thunder. Not that he was really expected to. The Thunder thing kind of blew up, obviously, when pieces started leaving, obviously, with Russell Westbrook leaving. And then, of course, it's not working with the Clippers. He failed and disappeared in the playoffs for the Clippers. Showed up on a few games, but ultimately not what he was paid and brought over to do as far as that's concerned. So if the Nets do pursue this, and you do get a Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and a Paul George thing, sure, that looks and sounds good on paper, but that'll be the most dysfunctional team in the NBA, and Steve Nash will regret the day that he decided to take that job, because that's going to be brutal. Those are three of the most difficult personalities in the game, and you're going to put them all on one roster. Again, hasn't happened yet. Who knows what's going to happen? but that is picking up steam. And I'm like, you know what? I don't like that. Paul George could end up a Laker too. You never know how any of this is going to
Yeah, NBA rumors are the best and worst. You know, they get the league going, they keep it popular. I mean, shoot, NBA Twitter is almost as popular as the NBA. You know what I'm saying, with all the rumors. As far as PG is concerned, man, that obviously everything that happened with the Clippers in the bubble was disappointing. I mean, everybody wanted that matchup with the Clippers and the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, and they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. And for them moving on from a Doc Rivers to them potentially trading PG, I would love to see the pieces that they get. If I'm the Clippers, I would do it. I would fleece the Nets. I would fleece them. I would be like, yeah, give me Spencer Dinwiddie. Give me Karis LeVert. Give me the young kid with the afro. Like, I can't remember his name, but he's a rim runner, a shot blocker. Give me those three guys. Y'all can have them, because what Kawhi has proved, he can carry a team to the finals with very good players. But I mean, he's proved that he can carry guys to the finals with very good players. You get more good players, like Kyle Lowry is a very good player. Serge Ibaka is a good player. So y'all want to take this guy? I would much rather have those three guys than Paul George any day of the week, like, without a doubt. And for the finals, I'm locked in tonight. I'm locked in all the time, and I want to see what the Heat can do tonight. You know, are they going to carry that momentum? Are they able to keep the Lakers from dominating in the paint? I mean, these are question marks we're going to get answered around 9:30 tonight.
Yeah, and to go back to my point about, like, people said that when the Heat formed the Big Three, it was bad for basketball. Then when Kevin Durant goes to the Warriors, it was bad for basketball. Those teams were must watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the Lakers. Not really Lakers. I love LeBron. You know, I'm following LeBron, but they're not even must watch. What was must watch? Like, we got spoiled as fans for 10 years, even though we bitched and complained the whole time. Like, I thought that the NBA was going to be better off this year for the duo league. I thought that was going to lead to a lot more interest, and it really wasn't. Ratings were down this year, even before the bubble, even before COVID hit, which threw me off. I was very shocked that the NBA ratings dropped the way they did. And before anyone even opens up their dumb mouth about, oh, well, you know, maybe they should stick to sports and about the politics thing. By the way, you could shove that, because that's not what's going on here. I think it has more to do with the fact that I have basketball to watch tonight, I have baseball to watch tonight, I have football to watch tonight. It's the fact that the NBA Finals is usually in July, whenever your Reds team is usually out of the playoff talk by the end of April anyways, and it's not just about the Reds, but you see my point. Yeah. So I don't care.
Tons of options.
But the ratings were down to the beginning of the year, and I think it's because there was no super team. There was no team that you hated. It was tough to hate LeBron and the Lakers, because LeBron went to a bad Lakers team that hadn't made the playoffs in forever, and last year missed the playoffs, and he was hurt and everything. So there really wasn't that team to hate. The Clippers were kind of exciting, because the people that didn't really like LeBron and the Lakers, they loved the Clippers. There just wasn't anything to really invest into.
Right. There's no villain.
Yeah, and I think you need a villain. And I think that's, why Kyrie's a little good for the NBA. I think Paul George leaving and going to there could be good for the NBA. You need, like, Kevin Durant was perfect for the NBA, because everyone right away, it was a weak move to leave the Thunder, to go to the Warriors. I don't even care that it was because they had a 3-1 lead and then let it slip away. How could you go to that? That really didn't bother me whatsoever. I was all for Kevin Durant leaving the Thunder. He gave him 9 years. You took more pieces away than added to him. You took away his coach. You took away star player after star player and a good player in Ibaka. You took all his favorite pieces away, and Scott Brooks, the head coach. I had no problem with him leaving, but it was great for the NBA, because you went to the Warriors team,
right,
who won 70 games. Like, what the hell? Like, that's insane as far as that's concerned. So I loved it. And that was missing this year. And next year, I think the Big Three will form. I think the Lakers are going to do what they can. I think whether it's Chris Paul, it could end up being, how about this for an NBA Finals next year? Nets and Lakers, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Anthony Davis going up against Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Paul George. On paper, that Nets team is the best in the East. But up here, I wouldn't put money on those guys getting to the finals. They're good enough. I trust Kevin Durant with Kyrie to kind of keep him in play. I don't trust Paul George and Kyrie and Durant. They're three mentally weak players as far as letting the outside noise impact how they play on the floor. Yeah. I hate that about Durant, because I think he's a fantastic player.
I love to watch KD play. A person that I can't stand to watch play is Kyrie Irving. I know a lot of people out there love Kyrie Irving because he can dribble very well. Kyrie Irving played 10 games at Duke. Kyrie Irving did nothing with the Cleveland Cavaliers before LeBron James showed up, and then he goes on to the Celtics and makes them worse. And then he goes on KD's podcast and talks about he felt like, oh, I finally got somebody that can make a shot on my team. Now, you and I have different opinions about LeBron James, about how the level of greatness he is. But there is no question that he's a great player. There's no doubt about that. He's a top whatever percent player you ever want to talk about playing the game of basketball. And the level of the disrespect that Kyrie Irving continues to show LeBron James is just horrible. And me not necessarily rooting for LeBron James in his finals has nothing to do with LeBron. I'm just not a Lakers fan. I didn't like Kobe and Shaq days, didn't like Kobe and Gasol days, didn't like him when Magic Johnson was on the team. I just don't like the Lakers. So, but I tell you this, if it's the Lakers and the Nets in the finals, I am rooting for the Lakers because I do not like Kyrie Irving at all. As much as of a Kevin Durant fan that I am, I will never root for any team that Kyrie Irving is on. He is a basket case, man.
What do you think about what he said about the coach?
Horrible.
But
horrible.
To be fair, much as I hated it, but he's not wrong. If you think that that's not how basketball's approached today anyways, where the players are running the team to begin with, I mean, I don't know. He's like, had he not said that, that's how we all picture, not maybe you, but had he not said that, that's how everyone envisions this anyway. Coach LeBron, Coach Durant, like that's how we envision this anyway.
That's one of I disagree because that's one of LeBron's biggest traits. When he does have a good coach, he actually listens to the coach. He listened to Spo when he was down in Miami. He listened to Tyronn Lue with the Cavs.
What do you mean? I don't know if he listened. I mean, they listened to him.
No,
they did what he wanted.
Spo told him stop shooting threes. He didn't shoot threes when he was in Miami. He was played in the paint with Miami, and
that's why he also left.
Hey,
he didn't want to, but I'm just saying, like that's why he also
can
left.
He can leave, but like he allowed himself to be coached, and that's when he was at his highest, and his percentages were like through the roof and all that nerdy stuff. But that's an actual tangible thing that we can trace. And also him allowing himself to be coached with the Lakers and saying, look, LeBron, we know how great you are. We know you're in your 17th year, but hey man, if you're not playing defense, the others that are supposed to play defense aren't going to play defense. And he's played defense this year.
I don't think that was the coach telling him that. He didn't play defense during the regular season. He does what he always does in the playoffs, and he always guards the other team's best guard, best defender, whether it's point guard, power forward, or whoever. I don't think that's a coach telling. I don't think a coach needs to tell LeBron to play good defense. I think he's just smart with his body and knows, hey, I'm not going to overexert myself during the regular season. I'm going to do it when it matters most. And that's why a lot of times in those special later in series, you'll see him guard some of the team's best players. He was guarding James Harden and Russell Westbrook. He was guarding, Dame time late in those series and stuff. And like even James, Butler. Now, by the way, someone found like the one time that, he crossed up LeBron like you wouldn't believe. And of course, that's been floating around.
That's
all
NBA.
over the place. Say, oh, see, he's lost a step. Man,
that's
are you kidding me? He didn't lose nothing. Butler's really good, by the way. Is he a number one?
I wouldn't say he's a number one, but his personality is a number one. His will to win is a number one.
He's a D-Wade.
D-Wade definitely was a number one.
But
D-Wade was seven. D-Wade is the third best shooting guard ever.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes.
D-Wade, for one, take Shaq off that roster. They ain't doing nothing.
What?
They're not, they make the playoffs, but they're not winning a championship with that. They won because he has to have the dominant guard, but Shaquille O'Neal is what was the glue piece for that entire Heat team. People try to make it sound like he arrived to the arenas in wheelchairs and stuff. That's definitely not the case.
He wasn't the Shaq of the Cavs and the Suns and the Celtics, but he sure wasn't the Shaq of the three-peat days with the Lakers. They won that series over the Mavericks because D-Wade went crazy. I think D-Wade is the third best shooting guard ever.
We're out of time, unfortunately. I would put MJ, Kobe, D-Wade. No, okay, it's your opinion. I ain't gonna do that because I've been told I do that. I'm rude, and I got to fix that. So I'm working on my food. I'm working on myself. I got to be more welcoming of other people's opinions. I mean, I know that's so unhip in 2020. So welcome other people's opinions.
It's called growth,
So there's that. But you're wrong. No, it's just
give me your 3 then. 3.
We'll do this tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll do this tomorrow. I'll take Kyrie over Dwayne. I'm just joking. I dribble.
I can dribble.
Man, Kyrie, he's a pain.
I can dribble.
I didn't like what he said. I can't believe he said it. And then he doubled down on it. And he had that video, that cocky video. Man, it's all about clickbait. It's all about clickbait for you guys. No, the clickbait was what you said. Like, the clickbait was what you said. All right, folks, we're out of time. All right. As we send you out, I want to send you out with a little chance to win $1,000 since, I don't care. Since the government's not going to give us our stimulus check. Stick to sports. No, not. Wanted my stimulus check. Now I ain't going to get it because, anyways, okay, it is what it is. But we have a chance for you to make $1,000. We'll do what the government won't do for you. We'll give you a chance to win $1,000 right here. And all you got to do is head to wingam.com and enter the keyword at wingam.com, the word dance. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag we want to get paid cash contest. Enter the keyword dance, D-A-N. Do I really have to spell it out for you? D-A-N-C-E. Enter the keyword dance at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It is that simple. Head to wingam.com. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag we want to get paid cash contest. Enter the keyword dance, D-A-N-C-E, at wingam.com. All right, everybody, have a great night. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about this. So the Cincinnati Reds, there was an interesting article. In fact, Bobby Nightingale, who we've had on the show, tweeted out an article that Michael Lorenzen has always wanted an opportunity to be in the starting rotation. And apparently that could happen in 2021. Mm-hmm. And my thing about that is, and I wanted to get into this today, we'll get into it tomorrow. I think that's a mistake. You worked so hard at the beginning of the season to get your bullpen right. You finally get it right, and now you want to tinker with it and take him out, who was actually pretty strong for that bullpen at the end. I don't want to see him as a starter. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you know what this sounds like to me? It sounds like a very cheap solution to a replacement in that rotation for a certain somebody that is on his way out. So, by the way, Trevor Bauer today did a video thing. People went at me on Twitter because I said that, Trevor Bauer, he's as good as gone. And they sent this video from one of his podcasts saying that, that the Reds right now, as of right now, they're the front runner as of right now, but the season's not even over with. He's telling you what you want to hear. Maybe he does come back, but he's not going to come out and say, I'm officially gone. He's massaging everybody right now. He's going to go to the Dodgers, who will pay him the most money. He's going to go to the Red Sox, who will pay him the most money. I think that the Reds should overpay to keep him for one more year. In fact, if the fact that Trevor Bauer is willing to do 1 year deals, that helps the Reds. Right. I can forgive the Reds if they overspend dramatically to have him for 1 more year. I'm fine with that. I don't want them to overspend for him for 7 or 8 more years, but I'm fine with them overspending for 1 more year as far as that is concerned. So if you believe what he's saying, that the Reds are the front runner, you also believe that strippers like you when you go to the club. Like oh, she's smiling at me. She's winking at me. She smiling and winking at you when you don't have a dollar bill in your hand. By the way, try 10, then see what happens. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash tomorrow from 3 to 6. Listen, stream, watch. Have a great night.
It's the Justin Kinner